Peace, love, and prosperity to all of humanity on planet Earth. This is Abdul Al-Kabir, the great servant of the people. Uh, the de jure Sultan of the Empire of Morocco as of June 8th, 2024, by official democratic elections, as distinguished from Kandin Bey, who is a sham sultan, a fugazi, fake, fraudulent sultan based on a coup d'etat, which gave him what they refer to as quote unquote special elections. And this presentation today is geared specifically, it's specific to J Bay. X-Rail Jermaine Diaz Spencer, the man who has shown, for the record, this is not slander, this is not defamation, these are facts, who had already once before patterns of behavior don't lie, conducted a coup d'etat. I looked for the website. Unfortunately, um, good brother Dawood did not keep the website going. It expired. It was all in there. However, guess what does still exist? The YouTube channel. The video is called, what is it called? And I'll be showing it. AMPAC National Transparency. Again, AMPAC National Transparency. This is where the sociopath, narcissist, Jermaine Diaz Spencer broke into a removal meeting. All right. Broke into a removal meeting, caused all types of ruckus because the whole government wanted him removed. That would be the executive branch and the legislative branch, except for one person in the legislative branch. That person appears in the so-called state of emergency video with a script in her hand. The removed Sarah Brittany Bay with a script in her hand that was written by the producer and director Jermaine Diaz Spencer, because that's what he said. Again, this is not slander. This is no malfeasance. This is no defamation. It's on a recording that was all of a sudden private. He said it for the record out of his mouth that he is the director and producer, and that the Sultan, well, you're just a lead actor. That recording will be coming out. We've just been holding off on it. It will. That quote unquote so-called private recording. It's private now, huh? It's private, huh? Yeah, you didn't want the consul general to hear that recording. And from that came what? What came from that? These nefarious, narcissistic policies that was authored by the same narcissist who made such a boo-boo mistake in making such a statement. For the record, in front of everybody, all three branches, they all stayed quiet. No one said anything. You see, in that moment, June 28th, 2025, I knew I was surrounded. I knew there was a plot. I knew there was a conspiracy. There is no way that that man should have been able to get away with talking to the Sultan in such a way, making such a statement. You're just a placeholder. Because what that means is everyone else are placeholders. If I'm the lead actor, then everyone else are supporting actors, cast members, in this sadistic, twisted play, fantasy play called The Empire of J. Bay. And in his world, everyone is a placeholder. The question then becomes, at what point will we be replaced? And by who? Whom? I guess is the proper word, right? With the M. Whom? Who is supposed to replace us, Jay? Who is supposed to, well, replace them? I done dealt with you. So who's supposed to be replacing them? Who was supposed to replace me in that moment? Because what if, I don't know, let's say Trump, because at that point we had already sent off letters. What if Trump would have responded in a favorable manner in that moment to recognize Abdul Al-Kabir as the Sultan? What would have happened? I'm very curious. Who were you going to call in to do this little switcheroo? Because we're placeholders. There was a switcheroo in motion here. I mean, this is like Amir Hassan L, Mr. Who's gonna write the documents? And now a Wazir Council meeting that Dre violated the Constitution. The executive branch shared the council recording with the judge of the judicial branch. Then that judge takes it, right, and disseminates it to the other judges, but not even all the judges. Look at that. The friend judges, the personal allegiance judges, the Dominiques of the world and the Isaacs of the world to paint this picture. Well, in that recording, Mr. Who's going to write the documents? The incompetent Wazir of New Mecca removed and stripped Wazir of New Mecca. It was absolutely clear that I was talking to little J Bay. It was like, oh, well, I hear this. I hear you, Amir. Oh, I hear you. I heard everything you said from the bottom of your heart in the spirit of J Bay. Well, he's always said that we were placeholders. Oh, and that was always okay? Because I never took it that way. Everyone knew what my perspective was as to what deems you as a placeholder. When I was the chairman of the WRC, I would always speak on this. Does anyone on the call that's in this presentation recall what is my position on what a placeholder is? Can someone help me out and share that with me in the floor? What is my definition for a placeholder? Because I used to go around with that as well, but it was under a different perspective. I didn't I didn't know. Keeping in mind that I had the veil pulled over my eyes too, but I'm a lion. That doesn't stick, especially when your behavior switch up. If there's a glitch in the matrix, you switch up, I immediately switch up. It happens naturally. Does anyone care to share what's my definition or my perspective on what a placeholder is, please? Does anyone recall? Someone got to recall. Do I need to say it again? Okay, I'll say it again. Or does anyone want to give it a shot? Someone give it a shot.
I'll give it a shot. I think
Thank you.
I know what it is, but I don't know if I put it in the right context.
That's fine. Then put it in your own words.
With the exception of Maru Polaris. His is different, but a placeholder is somebody that's is just coming in to just basically just how many times said just taking up space, not doing nothing, sitting back, waiting for things to get good for them, and then want to come in and say, "Oh yeah, I'm here."
That was hilarious. How you put it.
Wrong, huh?
No, I mean, no,
What?
I mean,
What?
that's a part of it. It's more to it. But go ahead if you're still speaking.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying it right. I can't remember word for word how you put it.
Um,
Okay.
Uh,
placeholder to me is someone that's
No,
filling
no,
the
not to
filling
you. No, not to you. No, no, hold on. No, yeah, what the question was, what have I been saying what a placeholder is? And you may
a
not,
lead.
you kind of knew, I've been saying this since I was the chairman and you weren't around for the chairman when I was the chairman of the WRC. However, you can still give it a shot though. I'm listening.
Lead actor, a
Okay,
supporting
no,
actor. I
no,
mean,
that's what he's presenting.
Point, and
yeah,
I believe you said, Sultan, you don't believe in placeholders. So if you don't believe in the concept of a placeholder, so if you appointed somebody to a position, they're there for a reason. I think. You,
Okay, let me give you. So Buck danced around it a little bit. Um, Wazir Polaris. Uh, Very similar to Kirk Palmer Bay of New Andalusia. Uh, Brother Polaris, Brother North Star, is he's more into the spiritual than the political. Kirk Palmer Bay is a mechanic, not a politician. So both of them, in good faith, on the front end, let that be known. Listen, uh, I'm here as a placeholder until we decolonize and someone else more competent comes and takes the position, and I'm willing, and I'll just go off and do my mechanic thing or go off and do my spiritual work. That's one definition. That's one form of a placeholder. The other type of placeholder is someone who, like Buck said, does not take his position serious. Right? I cannot trust. So upon decolonization, I'll just get rid of you and get someone else. I've said this before many times. Outside of that, you demonstrate unity, loyalty, conformity, and obedience. I don't care about your erudition. I don't care about your skill sets. Unity, loyalty, conformity, and obedience has nothing to do with erudition or skill sets. What does unity, loyalty, conformity, and obedience has everything to do with?
trust.
Anyone cares to give it a shot? Hmm?
decolonization.
No, it deals with the individual. Not it does. It's not your skill set. It's not your erudition. It's not what you
mean,
know.
it means that person is being loyal to his position 100%. And even
Mhm.
upon decolonization, he's not trying to leave or anything like that. He's, trying to still advance his skills.
Islam. Well, the answer that I'm looking for is that it's connected to your character. It's all about your character. I don't care about your erudition. I don't care about your skill sets. I care about your character. Character, Jay. Listen, Jay. Character is all that matters to Sultan Abdul Al-Kabir. That's the number one prerequisite is character. Yours is flawed, absolutely flawed, demonically, I might add. So
We got to this.
the, the wazir The Wazir DJ may not have any erudition, may not have any skill sets, but he has demonstrated unity, loyalty, conformity, and obedience. Harmony, the four pillars of patriotism. And he wants to hold that position. Sultan, I want to be the Wazir. I want to be there for my people. What would you get to assist with your lack of erudition and lack of skill sets? What have I said before? What would you get upon
Training.
decolonization?
Training.
A mentor, a tutor. That's what I always thought placeholder was. When we used to have all these intimate conversations, that's what it surrounded around. The bad behavior versus the good behavior, and those who come in on transparently saying, "Oh man, I'm just a mechanic. I want to help, but I ain't gonna be no minister of foreign affairs forever. I'm a mechanic." Okay, so then a person like that gets a grant upon decolonization, right? No interest loan or something. More like a grant, something that you don't have. You pay it back through taxes or something, whatever. I don't know. That's what the Moorish proteges who have the economic and financial skill sets. They'll set that up. I'll just give them my vision. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't have that skill set. I leave it up to the smart ones. I know what I would like to see happen for the Moors. So Kirk Palmer Bay will just get I don't know, a $10 million grant to go start a Jiffy Lube. I don't know. In Moroccan jurisdiction to help with the economic and financial reforms of the empire. Brother North Star would get, I don't know, however much necessary to start or put together a department or something, whatever, I don't know, dealing with the healing of the people, the spiritual healing of the people. We are a spiritual people. Divine doesn't mean Bible, Quran, religion. Divine means synchronicity, the alignment with the all, with the ethers, with the universe, with the Almighty, with Allah, with God, whatever your position is on the greater power. That's what divine is. We are a divine people. And our job as the divine people who are tasked with the mission and the responsibility to uplift fallen humanity, right? That requires higher self. Higher self is love. That's a spiritual divine principle. Lower self is hate. Higher self is love. Lower self is hate. Abdul Smith Al-Kabir, Kanye Shobey, Akil Z-Bey, the three wise men represent, and the empire, and all of you on the call, represent the empire, higher self, love, truth, not lies, deceit, and corruption, Jay. Truth, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Starts with the letter J, don't it, Jay? Justice, not malfeasance, deceit, corruption. That is lower. What's the opposite of love?
Hate,
Hate, okay. What's the opposite of truth?
lie, deceit,
Deceit, right? What's the opposite of peace?
uh,
War,
war.
words and reference points. It will be perpetual. I will never stop. You want to wave the white flag? Wave the white flag accordingly the proper way. Don't contact Chief Judge Cicero. Contact the Sultan Abdul Al-Kabir. You contact me. And there's only one requirement for ceasefire. And that requirement is we must reverse the hands of time back to October 1st, 2025, and undergo my investigation. I'm never going to let that go. You are not just going to sweep it under the rug, sir. What's the opposite of freedom?
Slavery.
Okay, right? Mental slavery, controlling the people, misguiding the people, manipulating the people with your silver forked tongue, pulling a wool over their eyes. This is not slander. This is being spoken by experience. What happened is I'm a lion, and I don't play that shit. I've said this countless times. This meant you too, Jay, and Monica, and damn show Dre. What's the opposite of justice?
Justice.
Injustice.
Somebody not getting injustice.
Injustice.
Somebody not getting what they need.
All that. So we just identified a spiritual component, a divine aspect of the Moorish movement. Did I not? Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. However, it's what? Brother Polaris could help if he's on. I forgot what it's called in the seven hermetic principles. I think it's duality. Right? There to cold, there's hot. To up, there's down. So to love, there's hate. These are the seven hermetic principles of Tahuti. What else did he call? What else did they call him? Does anyone even know? He had three different names: Tahuti in Egypt,
Oh,
in Greece.
no.
Yeah, Thoth. Yeah, exactly, correct. And then you also have Hermes Trismegistus. When you watch Gods of Egypt, the brother, the only black dude in the movie, by the way, was whitewashed like a mug. He had a like a crystal ball on his head, and you could where you can see his brain, and it was like blue, glowing blue. It was crazy. That's how much of a brain Tahuti Hermes Trismegistus was. So he wrote the seven hermetic principles: cause and effect, duality. Uh, there's seven of them. I have forgotten. This is old knowledge. Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is not new to the Sultan Abdul Al-Kabir.
Islam, point of interest, the Hermetic principles are the seven Hermetic principles are the law of mentalism, the law of
Yep.
correspondence,
Correct.
the law of vibration,
Mm-hmm.
the law of polarity,
Correct.
the law of rhythm,
Correct.
the law of cause and effect,
Cause and effect. Yep.
the law of gender. I
And the
yield.
law of gender, Islam, gratitude, chief. Those things are in constant operation. That's the divine. That's what's called divine. Things always vibrate. It's always in perpetual state of vibration. If you're not vibrating, you're not alive. Everything is a living object as long as it's on this in this plane and it vibrates. Male and female gender. These things are real sciences, ancient Moorish sciences. It applies right now. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice has its opposite. So he mentions a fork in the road. We came to a fork in the road. He said that we went left and they went right. No, correction. First of all, ain't no fork. It's an absolute removal. It's an absolute correction of the what? There was a stroke. There was a shock to the system deployed by the seditious and treasonous snake oil salesman, Jermaine D. Spencer. That's what happened. There was a shock to the system, a coup d'etat. That was settled. That's not a fork in the road. For absolute clarity. However, if we were to consider your fork tongue statement, then we went right. We took the right path. Don't play with me. Don't play with me, Jay. We took the right path. You and your toy soldiers went left and got left behind. Because I will remind you, sir, that the sovereignty of the state, according to the Act of Algeciras and the Triple Principle, the sovereignty of the empire rests with His Majesty the Sultan, with that office of which Abdul Smith Al-Kabir holds. You're just merely a subordinate judge. You're basically subordinate to all three branches. You're subordinate to all the wazirs. You're subordinate to all the sayarahas in the legislative branch of the House. And you're certainly and unequivocally super subordinate to the office of the Sultan. We are not going to act or pretend that your so-called brilliancy or whatever, however many hats you wear, gives you any authority. You may have influence, and you have shown that. You have influenced everyone over there, manipulated them. Your influence is based on malfeasance, though, not righteousness. You're a traitor. You're seditious. You know, the Nation of Islam back in the 60s would refer to the white man as the blue-eyed devil. I don't agree with that. That's why I tell the Moors, don't come telling me about the white man. Let's talk about the nappy-headed devil, the black devil. So in this case, what we're talking about is a black devil in a black robe and a fez, a magi. You know what Taj was talking about? Can somebody, I know we know on here, what Taj talks about a magistrate as it relates to a magi. Can someone come off mute and break down that science? Does anyone care to do so? Does anyone even know about that? Ain't no Taj Street Bay watchers around here? Well, I was a binge watcher.
I was Sultan, but I can't put my finger on it if I'm being honest.
But I appreciate the honesty. Magistrate, magi, magician, sorcerer. But see, what we do also have to understand that magic it also falls under the 7 Hermetic principles. The craft, the art of magic on its own is not evil or good, evil or righteous. What makes magic evil, or righteous? What turns that art into positive or negative?
Whether you do good or bad.
The
Individual.
individual.
The individual.
Your intentions determines if it's black magic or white magic. Your character. Are you operating this instrument in the higher self or in your lower self? That's the question. So a judge can manipulate the laws, right? Or use it in a strict sense and be honorable. That's still magic. That's white magic, positive magic. Those who took the right path. See, that's the right path of magic. The left path of magic is the lower self, the dark side, right? Chancellor Palpatine and his stormtroopers in Star Wars, the Chancellor, the Sith Lord, using the dark side, staying in the dark, staying in the shadows, recusing himself, and he's in his feelings, crying a river because Skywalker and the Jedis are shining the light, coming with the light, coming with the sunlight for the vampire, burning up his skin. So now he wants to tell Cicero, did you tell them to chill? Because if not, I'm prepared to bring this to the United States jurisdiction. I.e., I'm about to call the police. Well, call the police. All you doing is showing everyone that you don't believe none of the foolishness you've been talking about for 185 study sessions now, doesn't it? So call the police. Go run to your slave master the same way you did with the Attorney General requesting that the mediators enforce the agreement established in Moroccan law, in Moroccan jurisdiction. Did y'all hear what I said? The Sith Lord literally crossed jurisdictions back into the U.S. jurisdiction, which means he had to reduce himself to being a U.S. citizen again. But yet we're talking the patriotism. He must choose the entire submission. There is no going back. There is no such thing as halfway crooks. Oh, well, you just showed me something different to serve your personal political agenda. This is diabolical. This is nasty work. But I appreciate the work because it serves to discredit you further. So he needs the white man to enforce Moroccan law on his behalf. I can't make this up. This isn't slander. This isn't defamation. Don't play with me. These are facts. The same way me being from Panama are facts. Those are facts. But the truth is I have chosen the entire submission to the laws of the empire. The truth is that Panama was colonized and still is by Spain by way of Panama. The truth and fact is that I stand here today as the reigning legitimate sovereign of the Moorish Empire. So we say the Moors must choose the entire submission. There is no going back, but you go back and say, oh, could you please enforce this agreement that we have in our Moroccan jurisdiction? Do you know how embarrassing that is? Do you know how that makes us look as if we cannot govern ourselves? And of course, we cannot govern ourselves when we're dealing with a snake oil salesman such as yourself, Jermaine. Such a corrupt shark. Isn't that what he always said, Morris? I'm a shark. My mentor was Lawrence, the biggest shark in mergers and acquisitions, and he once asked me, are you a shark or a fish? From that day, I decided to be a shark. So I crushed everyone because I'm a shark. I crush everyone. This is his disposition. He has always told on himself. A shark who would crush anyone, someone who carries that mindset is someone who has no integrity. You're a capitalist. Don't tell me about Trump. You come from the same cloth. You are a capitalist. You would crush people, and you would do it by any means necessary. Which means, if you got a record deal, you'll sell your soul to the Illuminati. That's the type of man you are. You ain't got no character. You don't have no morals. You don't have no integrity. Anything for the win. You'll do whatever to win. Like you would tell me with your nephew playing chess. You would make him, he was so good that he made him play the pieces randomly so he can beat him. This is literally what he told me. Now, remind, that is a game. It's called Fisher Random. But that kid didn't know about Fisher Random. At least train him, show him how to play, and then. But no, you're gonna say no. We're not gonna play the regular chess because you're too good at it. So we're gonna play Fisher Random so I can win. Nasty work from this guy, the worst human being on planet Earth that I've ever met. He held it down for 2 years. But again, the real you shines eventually. He's not solid. His character got a whole lot of holes in it. He's like a strainer. Scum of the earth. Okay. So now, let us remind everyone what Article 10 says. Can somebody please read Article 10? Anyone?
Article 10. The Sultan shall preside over the Prime Minister as the absolute sovereignty authority in all matters of political, legal, judicial, education, economic, social, and military affairs.
I didn't write that. Neither did he. He prepared it. Who wrote it? France. So then he copy, paste, plug, and played it. So that's preparing it. It was politically prepared by Jay Bay, and I thank him for it. Classic case of a Gemini, lower self Gemini. On one hand, he does something positive, but then on the other hand, there's this nefarious agenda that goes along with it. Lower self, this is not an attack on my Gemini people on the call. You have lower self Gemini, you got higher self Geminis. You got lower self Leos, you got higher self Leos. Again, duality in those 7 hermetic principles. There's 2 sides to everything. A lower self Gemini is a very dangerous person. Monica, his sidekick, Gemini as well. I remember Makara, because I used to go to classes with Makara when I first was assisting Makara with statehood. She was 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Coleman L., the first wazir of Demti, he's the one who created the flag and the seal and everything else. Me, him, and Akil were the 3 that were trying to establish our own states. He established Texas. I did Georgia. Akil did Maru or Indiana. He would always reach out. Man, Makara, she's not going to stick around, man. I need you to talk. So I had to nurture her. She didn't like Jay. I don't like him. It's something about him. She would always say that. I was like, man, the man is cool, man. I talk to him all the time. You're just going off of what you see on, I basically told her to ignore her own spiritual signs and what she saw. I remember I used to argue with her about taxes because she used to like always have a problem with paying taxes, and I used to parrot what Jay would always tell me. Come to find out, the whole time he ain't paying taxes. uh, Attorney General Kanye Shobe, Jay Jermaine Bay's former employer. Could you please come off mute and um, confirm as his employer, because we're saying that he's saying that we are slandering and uh defaming and all these, he's a victim now. So this presentation is, there's no slander. There never been no slander. So I got to make it clear every time we speak on certain things. So this isn't slander. This isn't defamation. These are facts. AG, what did he pay taxes? Did you withhold taxes? Did he pay taxes? Is the AG on? He's on, but he's probably tied up. Okay. He'll come back on and we'll ask that question again. The answer is no, he didn't pay taxes. So I'm here. No, I'm a car man. Just, what's them $200? What that don't matter. We about to charge taxes. We're the tax collectors. Don't worry about paying them 200. In the meantime, in between time, this is what we got to do, and not to. And some of those points are valid. I still stand by them. There's certain that you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. What's good you keep. What's diabolical you get rid of it. Simple as that. I make distinctions. I'm a wise person, Morris. I ain't stupid. I'm not hard-headed, and I'm not stubborn. So these are the things that he would say, and I saw the value in it. It's true. Why would we put stress on the state to battle the IRS when we need all the energy to battle the United States as a whole to now complete the decolonization process and then start charging taxes? That makes sense to me. I agree with that. I still stand by that. So that's what I would tell her. But unbeknownst to me, you yourself, and so how you gonna tell someone not to do something if you ain't doing it? At least be transparent with that. Not act like you paying taxes. Oh, I paid my taxes. I lead by example. I'm paying the taxes, so you should pay taxes. And the whole time you're not paying taxes. You see, this is what I'm talking about this man. So she, in that relationship that we developed earlier on, we got really close. That was like, I loved Makara. And I thought she loved me. But this ain't about love. It's not even about personal allegiance or anything like that. It's about the Constitution and the constitutional order. Meaning that the reason why I loved her is because I thought she was a solid woman. I thought she had character, morals, and integrity, especially as a spiritual worker and as an astrologist. So we used to attend these astrology classes with brother Noble Drew Bay. And in it, that's where I learned about the lower self and the higher self concept of the zodiac. That's where I learned that in that class. I'm speaking facts here. So fast forward, when all this stuff is taking place, they talking about I did disregard a consultation with Makara. I used to always consult with Makara. I mean, that was, I don't know if this is inappropriate, but that was my boo, if you will. I loved Makara. So I didn't have a problem with consulting Makara. So in some of our conversations, because even after that June 28, 2025 infamous, I'm the director and the producer, and you're just the lead actor. Even in that recording, Makara jumped off that recording livid. Because remember, in that recording, the first person that came off with all the seditious, treasonous language was Monica Ortega, in which she stated, for the record, quote, "This is not slander. This is not defamation. It's in the recording." He said, "AMPAC don't play that. That stuck with me. All the disrespect that her and Jay spilled on me was irrelevant. What mattered was, AMPAC don't play that. Hold up." See, she had said, The empire don't play that. Maybe a little. I wouldn't have. She wouldn't have gave it away. She gave it away when she said that had been festering. So from that point on, I was thinking, okay, there's a plot because she says that, and then this dude comes talking about I'm just a lead actor. Hold up, put two and two together. Like he would tell everyone, the Sultan is highly intelligent. So what you thought I turned into Kendon overnight? You thought I turned into Amir, Hassan, or Kane L overnight? This whole coup d'etat thing is an insult to my intelligence, and that's the hardest part for me. So as of June 28, 2025, I'm wondering, I even presented it to Dre in one of the council meetings. What does this mean? Is there some nefarious chess move that's being worked on to have me remove that Sultan and place you as the Sultan? Because it already happened in the past. They played a chess move on Dawood. Even I fell for it. So they made Dre the Wazir. And they made Brittany the Sayaraha. Not even they, him. Who was him? Jermaine Diaz Spencer. They even used a baby in the so-called state of emergency. That stuff didn't do nothing for me. What it was, well, first of all, I didn't know Dawood. Didn't have no. I only had a few conversations with him, but didn't really know him. Also, he was embellishing things. One of the things that he said was, he stole the laptop from me. Well, Jermaine showed me an email where there was a conversation in which there was irrefutable evidence that it wasn't stolen. So that killed his credibility. And he manipulated that. He weaponized it. The reason why Dawood ended up going quiet was because I got in the way. He knows this. He thanks me for it all the time. Now I look back and say, damn, what did I do? Because Dawood was doing exactly what I'm doing right now, exposing him. But I kept blocking. He'll say something, and here I come with the recognition of so-called Dre Bay as the so-called Wazir. So for that, I have to apologize to Dawood Habib El publicly, because time goes on and I see the same thing. That's why I knew what was going on. I could tell it was, I'm like, this is the same crap. This is the same playbook. So Moracopolis, Ampan, and Allodium, Morris, Monte, Nevada, the PGFs, these are innocent bystanders that don't know better. They don't know this backstory, but they're still grown-ups, and they still should know that there's two sides to the story. And the simple fact that a judge that's subordinate to the Sultan would excommunicate the Sultan and you actually go along with it, man, you got to check yourself in the mirror. This is a character. This ain't got nothing to do with erudition and how long you've been around. It's a life skill set that calls for the understanding that there's two sides to a story. You don't just accept one side and disregard the other. Even worse, when the other side is that of the Sultan. Come on. What is wrong with y'all, man? This is absolutely ridiculous. It's embarrassing. And that's why none of you have place in government. You're not fit to lead a people, especially a people who's coming out of colonialism. It requires higher self to lead these people. It requires love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice to lead these people. We're a state that's rising again, having to go through the various stages of advancement of developing our free political institutions, which is why Article 3 says that political inadequacy is not a reason to delay independence, because these people don't know nothing. You got to be patient with them, and you got to assist them. You have colonized them. You have erased their identity and their knowledge and history of self. So to have a corrupt person or group leading that is unsustainable. That's a disaster waiting to happen. But again, you're placeholders. You're placeholders. Everyone is a placeholder. I've never heard him say that he was a placeholder. I'm a placeholder, just like everyone else. I've never heard him say that. Have you, Amir, Hassan, or Kane? Jack Daniels Kane. Did you get you a shot today, bruh? Are you sober today? Make no mistake, all y'all are my enemies. So don't expect me to be nice to you. You're enemies of the state. You made it that way. What made it that way? Start over here. Can we share that? Can we see my screen? Yes, we can. Can someone read this for me, please? This email. This is from me to Dre, Makara, Akil, Matheno, Lauren, Kendon, Amir, Mary, Sarah, Queen, Brittany, Jay, Nova, should I say Monica, Kanye, Minister of Foreign Affairs, the whole government. Could you please read this email? This is short and simple.
Yes, Islam, Prime Minister and Speaker. We're making history as this is the Sultan's first veto pursuant to Article 5, Section 8. See attached. Thanks in advance. Islam and power to the people.
Gratitude, Mofa, Your Excellency, let's say that. Okay, this was the veto. This is what started it all. September 30th, but it was written on September 29th. This is what started it all. Because then, and obviously this is the attachment, and then here comes the seditious one, the diabolical one, the snake oil salesman. I want to ask questions. Before we go into these silly questions, let's take a look at something real quick. Excuse me, Morris. You guys know about this Zoom thing. It perplexes me how it does what it does. Hold on a second. I gotta just bring it all down, bring this up, unfortunately. Okay, please read Article 5, Section 8 for me, please. His Majesty the Sultan of the Empire of Morocco, Chapter 2, Article 5, Section 8. Someone read that for me, please. Let me highlight it. Anyone? Your
Section
Excellency.
8. With written cause, His Majesty the Sultan is entitled to veto any governmental act passed by the Speaker of the House or the Prime Minister without delay.
Okay, gratitude. So, what is first of all, is this implied or expressed language? What would you say? Because this is also a class. Every chance I get to erudite the Moors, I take it. I'm a perpetual teacher. What or presenter? I don't know. I'm not even a teacher. But what is this express language or implied? What would y'all say? Anyone?
Expressed.
You would say express, right? Okay. There's nothing that's being implied here. This is specific. It's IKEA furniture instructions. You don't imply it's specific. Put the screw here, right? It's specific. It's expressed. What makes this veto? What is the main provision of this this section? What is required of me as His Majesty the Sultan to remain constitutional according to this section? Anyone?
With written cause.
with written cause. So that means if I veto it, I can't just be like, oh, it's vetoed. I gotta have a written cause as to why it's vetoed. And then without delay. Without delay. So it said it's specific with written cause. His Majesty the Sultan. Does it say the people? Does it say the government? With written cause, His Majesty the Sultan. Or does it say with written cause, the people? With written cause, the speaker? With written cause, the government? Or does it say with written cause, His Majesty the Sultan, the government, and the speaker is entitled to veto? Or is it specifically saying His Majesty the Sultan is entitled to veto? That is a real question. What do y'all think? We're looking at it.
Yeah, in all three governments.
His
Say it again.
Majesty the Sultan only.
I mean, the veto power goes to the head of state, and it's a unilateral power.
Right.
One of the very few unilateral powers that a head of state has is the veto power. Okay, what happened? I messed up here. I got to master this. I haven't been able to figure this out. How to handle Zoom with pages. I'll figure it out. One day I'll take the time to actually go to. Once I finish the class or the Zoom presentation, that's it. And until I get back to the Zoom again, I've never taken the time to actually try to figure that part out. Trying to figure it out on the fly. So at any rate, this is his response. I don't know if he didn't know. I don't know if he didn't notice that I paid attention. I don't know if he thought that I was like sleep for real, that I was just dozed off and just, what Nas said. I never sleep, because sleep is the cousin of death. Right? I don't just sleep. You might think I'm asleep, but I got three eyes. Like Brother Polaris would always say, I see the white hair in the milk. So things that he thought that he taught me, I learned more than he thought he taught me, because he taught me more by what he didn't teach me, if you will. I pay attention to everything. One of the things that I know of him is it's not something new. I actually learned this from the Moorish movement. He who is as king is as king, right? You ask questions to control the narrative. The person who's asking the question is the one who's controlling the narrative. So he delivers a bunch of questions as his response. Thank you for your email, Sultan. Then he wants to strike part A and tell me what I stated. Yeah, we're making history. And I vetoed your policies. So he goes on to ask all these questions. Did Chief Judge J. Bay write the EOM Constitution as they draft on February 1st, 2024? Pause. Now we're getting ready to see how he likes to muddy the water. He is a silver forked tongue. He is a snake. He slithers, and he likes the grass high so that you can't see him. He likes to be in the dark right. He likes to be behind the scenes. So everybody's a snake. That's why I try to keep the grass cut so I can see them when they coming. Then I light their ass up. Jadakiss. You like the grass high? No, let's keep the grass cut. Jadakiss from the Lock. That was a quote from one of the rappers, since he likes to quote Mobb Deep and ain't no such thing as halfway crooks. Okay, let's quote Jadakiss. Huh? Shall we, Jay? Let's do that. For you and you only, sir. You're a snake. So I got to keep the grass cut so I can see you when you coming. But I see you when you're coming already, whether the grass is high or not. Everyone else don't see you. I already learned about you. Ubiquity don't know nothing about you. Tone don't know nothing about you. Morocopolis and Ampan, they don't know nothing about you, sir. Isaac does. Watson Ali does. Makara does. Amir Kane Hassan El does. Amir Kane, he ain't paying no attention. He too busy at the bar getting drunk. Anything goes with him. He's just drunk all the time, stuttering. You know, just the drunkard. Yeah, you're my enemy too, bro. You've been my enemy. You a flip flopper. This ain't the first time you done flip flopped. Keep in mind, everyone, I brought all these people into the fold. But they don't know about you, sir. I know about you. Monica knows about you. Dre knows about you. Brittany knows about you. Chad knows about you. And don't nobody know better about you than the Attorney General, Kanye Shobay. Oh, he knows about you. But again, Ubiquity don't. You know, they don't know. They got the wool pulled over their eyes. They all, oh, he's brilliant. So you want to control the narrative with all these silly questions. Here we go. No. Question number one is no, hell no. Let's be clear. Chief judge of what? Oh. So you politically prepared this Constitution, the draft on February 1st. Yes, you did. But let's be clear about the position. He wasn't the chief judge of the empire because there was no empire. Did y'all hear what I said, Morris? You drafted the Constitution as the chief judge of AMPAC. And what you would say as a consultant to the empire, we accepted that term. You went a little too far with it though. You got too big for your britches on that. Because your consultation started to become orders, demands, disguised as, oh, it's just a consultation. It's just my advice. All that little slick shit you be doing. So no, you was not the EOM judge. So let's not try that. Wazir Abdul Bey signed the EOM. You know, stuff like this, you know. Did Sayarahas and Wazir signed that Abdul Bey become elected on May 12 in connection with the provisions of the Constitution. So he's building up. Think he's slick. Wasn't Abdul Al-Kabir, aka Abdul Bey, able to promulgate the independence of the empire on May 13 in connection with the fully executed Constitution? You see what he's doing? Listen. Which all that is true. Yes, my name is on all that. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for confirming that. Did the Sultan Abdul Al-Kabir sign the Constitution? Yes, I did, June 3rd. See, look at what he's doing. He's building up. That Abdul Smith Bey / Al-Kabir signed the Constitution. Not once, but twice, which gave it the full weight of the state. So who gave it the full weight of the state? Can someone tells me who gave it the full weight of the state?
The Sultan.
His Majesty the Sultan.
No. That's not what it says. Say the name.
Abdul Smith
Thank
Al-Kabir.
you. I gave it the full weight of the state. My signature, my ratification as Sultan. Remember, it's a non-sentient entity. This is the empires or the office of the Sultan. I gave it life. I'm the sentient being sitting on a what? What do you call it? I forgot the term. I forgot the term.
Avatar.
No, 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 not Avatar. Something that doesn't have life, right? I just say non-sentient object. A chair, the office doesn't have life. It's not a human being. Is the point that I'm making. I gave it life. Had Kendon been elected officially, which by the way he ran and got like 1 or 2 votes, all of Demti voted for me and Akil. It was split. Akil could have been the Sultan. Kendon didn't come nowhere near me and Akil. And it makes sense. Me and Akil been day one, man. Day one. We've been studying together. Kendon don't know nothing. That boy just coming off the street selling drugs. Come on, man. That's what he's a drug dealer. He don't know nothing. He's a criminal. Okay. So I gave it the full weight of the state. It could have been Akil. It could have been Kendon. He ran, got his butt whipped. Now he said himself in our private conversations with me, him, and the prime meaning Akil. But I'm just throwing my name in the hat, man. But I know I ain't no match. Yeah, I appreciate you recognizing that. See, you can't be humble. I don't mean to be rough on him, but you got caught up in the crossfire. This is war, baby. Didn't y'all put together Moorish Gov? Okay, cool. It's war. We're at war. That Moorish Gov thing don't bother me. Do that shit 2, 3 more times. I'm still the Sultan. Okay, not once but twice. Okay, now listen to how he's trying to build up. This is Sultan Al-Kabir recently used the Constitution to veto certain bills in the month of September 25. I used the Constitution to veto your bill, your nefarious policy in September 2025. If the Sultan is using now listen, if the Sultan is using the so-called legal argument that if Chief Judge J. Bay writes bills, then the bill is unconstitutional, right? Then doesn't that mean the office of the Sultan is also void ab initio since Chief Judge J. Bay wrote the Constitution which recognized the office? You seen what he just did? Please come off mute and tell me you seen the fork tongue.
Yeah, I seen how he did it, but it still doesn't matter. He actually did not write the Constitution like
No,
he
the
said.
point being, no, you're missing it. The point being is that he wasn't the chief judge of the empire when he wrote the
Oh,
Constitution.
right. Yeah, there you go.
That's the point.
That's the point. Yeah.
And when he prepared it, he wasn't the chief judge of the empire. We was all in our zero. We was at ground zero. AMPAC don't matter because who is the high contracting party? The empire. So we had to establish the empire. So you didn't become the chief judge of the empire, not even June 28th. I had to do Prime. I don't know if he's on. I had to do another election for him. I had to swear him in for the Moorish Consular Court. Officially swear him in. I, Sultan Al-Kabir, swore him in the Wazir Council meeting. Play with me. And that was even during the time when we had this contention. This is what he's doing. So he's asking all these questions. If every bill or instrument that Chief Judge wrote, such as the Constitution, no, you didn't write the Constitution when you was the Chief Judge of the empire. Is somehow all of a sudden void and all this stuff, right? Then the adverse effect means the Constitution should also be void. Hence, the office of the Sultan should be void. Hence, the Sultan's veto power should be void. You see what he's doing? Hence, all ratified bills should be void. Hence, the whole empire of Morocco's 3 branches of government should be void since they're tied to the Constitution. Hence, the office of chief judge, the office ain't void, you void. Hence, all consular court orders and judgments are void. Hence, Moroccan nationality is obsolete and without effect because the Moorish subject are still in the absence of a constitution. I'm trying to tell y'all, man. I know I didn't do too well. There was a dealership called Fairway Ford. They put me in the used car department. I didn't do too well. The way they trained me, it wasn't conducive to my personality and my character. It was this right here, snaky, sneaky, deceitful stuff, snake oil salesman stuff. I don't do well with that. I'm too honest and transparent to move like this. Hey, are we back to being blackamoors and Moorish subjects since we have to start all over and draft a new constitution and open the elections up to everyone who wants to be the Sultan and any other public official? See, you see what he's trying to do? He's muddying the waters and he's trying to be slick with all this. Should the blacks with warship, look at this. Should the blacks with warship visa status, people such as Panamanians, be recognized as Moorish subjects or Moroccans this time around? You see what he's doing? Since they are not citizens of the United States by birth certificate or naturalization? Yeah, it's irrelevant. What's the main reason, aside from the law, putting the law aside, what's the main reason as to why that answer is hell yeah? What is he talking about, sir? Putting the law aside, you look at me and you look at Monica, and we see two different nationalities. You see a Moor, and you don't even know what you see over there. I don't know. Is he Native American, Mexican, Spaniard? I don't know. Not sure. So if you're willing to grandfather her in, then surely I have the absolute right under Article 15 to choose the entire submission to the laws of the empire. It's not limited to the United States or the naturalization of the United States. As a reminder, what does Article 15 says? Any subject of Morocco who has been naturalized in a foreign country, yes or no? Or does it say any subject of Morocco that has been naturalized in the United States? Is Article 15 limited to only United States citizens?
No, it's not. Any foreign country.
You see what he just tried to do right here with his foolishness? This is why he wants me to just go away. Don't talk about this anymore. You're exposing me. Yes, I am. I'm cutting the grass. Keep the grass nice and neat, nice and cut. You got to keep, it's a constant um damage control operation going on. That's the snake looking for the grass, the high grass to go hide. I cut the grass, you're running around. I pour holy water on you, you're running around, burning, smoking, your skin is smoking. I shine the sunlight on the vampire, he's running around trying to find cover. Go back into the darkness. This is what we're seeing here. Is Abdul Smith Bey a Panamanian resident with a visa or a Moroccan national? Moroccan national. And I've never had a visa. A green card and a visa are two separate different things. Is Abdul Al-Kabir de facto Sultan or de jure Sultan, pursuant to the Constitution, the Chief Judge Bey author? Do you see how he wants to throw that in there? Because we'll see why. And thereafter ratified by 7YZ and all this, whatever. And look what he's trying to say. And one Sultan, yes, one Sultan. That's the biggest chair. That's the one that gave it the full weight. For the above reasons, I welcome your legal response to my inquiry in relation to the veto power to the Constitution. Nevertheless, if Abdul Al-Kabir is the de jure Moroccan Sultan due to the EOM Constitution, then Sultan's written cause to veto certain bills is without merit and unjustified, among other things. You see what he tried to do? Since where does it say that all that is required? This is what you call muddying the waters, deflecting. He's a narcissist. Then he got a part B. Below are questions that should be addressed regarding Article 5, Clause 8 of the Constitution, which reads as follows. Clause 8, with written cause, His Majesty the Sultan is entitled to veto any governmental act passed by the Speaker of the House or the Prime Minister without delay. We already went over that. Article 5, Clause 8 of the Constitution is an is in casual relationship. Look at what he's trying to do here. Oh my goodness gracious. I gotta pause for a second. This is so nefarious. A competent eye who reads this can clearly see the dysfunction in this man's character and his spirit and what it is that he's trying to do here. Casual relationship with Article 11, Clause 1, 2, and 6. The Sultan shall promulgate legislative acts of the government within 15 days following the final passage of an act. Now, mind you, that's like 6 articles after, because there's Article 11. And his transmission to the government. Clause 2, he made before the expiry of this time limit, asks the House to reopen debate on the act or any section thereof. Such reopening of debate shall not be refused. So it's Article 5, and then you got Article 11, which is 6 articles down. What is the reason for a veto? As an example, let's say there's a policy or bill that's being that was presented to be passed, and it reaches my desk, and that bill calls for, I don't know, the hanging of all white people because the Moors are mad with them. That's the reason for it. I have to be the responsible one. I have to be the adult in the room to say no, hell no, and get rid of it immediately with written cause. And my written cause would be pursuant to just cogents and the preemptory norms of international law provides that human rights shall be observed, and because of that, I veto this bill. Whatever. I got to give the reason. And it's without delay. It's not the Sultan shall promulgate legislative acts of the government within 15 days following the final passage, excuse me, of an act and its transmission to the government. Because if that bill or that policy absolutely violates human rights, then there's none of that going on. It's vetoed. We ain't even going to that stage. That's why it's 11 versus 5. It's way before 11. Y'all follow what I'm saying? Sequential order. Does that make sense to anyone? I'm speaking to the floor. Is everyone, or can you all hear me?
Yes, I hear you. It's making sense to me.
Anyone else so far? Because I'm only hearing you. Can anyone? I want to hear from someone else. Islam. Can I get an Islam, or could you explain further? Anything like that?
Islam.
Open to the right.
Islam.
Okay, gratitude. Question: did the Sultan ask the House to reopen debate on the act or any section thereof before the bill was vetoed? Was the veto made unilaterally? Was the veto made unilaterally without censor inquiry or consultation? This man is something else. Back to Article 5, Section 8. With written cause, His Majesty the Sultan is entitled to veto any governmental act passed by the Speaker of the House or the Prime Minister without delay. It don't say that it requires consultation and censor inquiry or any of that. Keep it in mind, without delay. So if I have to put the veto through this type of so-called due process, will that not cause a delay? Yes or no?
Yes, it would cause a delay.
I don't know who the hell he thought he was dealing with, man. I'm not Monica. I'm not Dre. I'm not your puppet. I'm not Chad. Who packed his whole family up to come be with you, to come lay in bed with you. I'm not Makara. I'm not Amir Hassan L, who's concerned about who's gonna write the documents. Me. I don't need Jay Bay. And I kept telling y'all that, and he didn't like it. I don't need him. I got what I needed. It'd be good to have the brother around because we were supposed to be the uh, 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 disruptive 1-2 punch. Me and him, we were supposed to be the 1-2 punch. Me, Neo the one, him, Morpheus. You get him with the judicial, I get him with the political, executive branch. So that's what I would have preferred. But a righteous spirit cannot coexist in the same room with a unrighteous, wicked, diabolical spirit. So it never was going to happen anyway. The divine mission of his was to course correct me. I've been in the revolution. I've been a revolution. I'm a career revolutionary. Over 20 years, since my 20s. I've been looking for the answer. I've been in every lecture, community drives and marches and all kind of stuff. Building up and growing and growing. Going from the power of the gun, so-called, Black Panther stuff, running in some White House, you ain't doing that, to the power of the pen. So your job was to bring me to that side of the law. Your job here is done. Now you can go sit down somewhere. Because we don't need devils around us. It's bad enough that we've been misled, bamboozled, hoodwinked, and led astray by other black devils that you like to talk about. And you ain't no better. You ain't no better than Farrakhan. You ain't no better than Taj and anyone else in your study session who you want to talk down on. You're a bird of a feather, sir. Part D, Article 5, Section 8 of the Constitution is a causal relationship with Article 12. The Sultan may, on a recommendation from the government in session, submit to a referendum as published in the official journal. It's just him trying to muddy the waters. I'm not even gonna read. As the Prime Minister or Wazir Council submitted a referendum to the Sultan, which would allow the people to vote on the outline provisions of the bills before the veto was executed. Again, it causes delay. That has nothing to do with Article 5, Section 8. Article 5, Section 8 is expressed language. If that was required, then it would say that. With written cause and consultation from the Speaker of the House and the Prime Minister and subject to a referendum. Yes or no? Yes or no? I'm talking to the floor. Y'all can come off mute and say yes, no, Islam, whatever. Yes or no? With written cause, subject to consultation from the Speaker and the Wazir Council and a referendum, all these things that he's saying. Wouldn't that be presented in Article 5? Or does Article 5 says, with written cause, the Sultan has the right to veto a bill coming from the House of the government?
Yes.
Without them. I mean, it's specific. It's IKEA furniture instructions. Put the screw here, put the nail over there. Come on. This is foolishness. So more muddying of the water. So let me get really to the point. In conclusion, I thank the Sultan for exercising the constitutional powers. However, I've often informed the Sultan, the government, the House, and all other officials, who are you? Who are you? The consultant? Are you the Sultan? Are you the behind-the-scenes Sultan? Are you the director and producer behind the scenes pulling the strings as Sultan and Prime Minister and Chief Judge and the Speaker? Because you wear many hats. You see, this is how he's talking. And all other officials that we must share the power. Okay. So then how about you take off some of these hats? Oh. How about you just keep your judicial hat on, judicial branch hat on? Let me wear my Sultan fez. Let the Speaker wear her Speaker fez or turban. But no, instead, you want to wear everybody's hat. That's not sharing the power now, is it there, sir? You want to be everything. You want to have your hands in everything. You want to control everything. Because again, it's a J-Bay play in which you're the producer and director, and everyone are just placeholders, right? Actors and producers. I'm sorry, actors and supporting cast members. This isn't slander. This isn't malfeasance. This isn't defamation. We're reading your emails and dissecting the words that are coming out of your mouth. For these reasons, it is disingenuous for the head of state to avoid or deny the representatives an opportunity to exercise their constitutional rights as also being the elected representatives of the people. All elected officials, and we the Moroccan people, have protected rights and privileges that cannot be prejudiced as set forth under Article 3, Clause 1, as provided. National sovereignty shall vest in the people, who shall exercise it through their representatives and referendums of the state. Is that not what you just did to the people when you tried to impeach me off fraudulently, sir? Oh. Say word. Don't play with me. Do not play with me. This is a veto. It is my job, not the job of the government, not the job of the House. Article 10, I preside over all the institutions. I'm the grantor of the independence of the Moorish judicial authority. It is absolutely my job, responsibility, and duties to protect the empire and the people of the empire by any means necessary, on any and all circumstances, no matter who it is. And if anyone within the government seek to pass a bill that's nefarious in nature, that hurts the people in any way, shape, form, or fashion, it is my job to shut it down without delay. It's not everyone's power. It's not share the veto power, sir. Sharing of the power has nothing to do with the veto power. It has to do with the full governance of the state.
No government share veto power.
I don't know where they do that at, except for in the mind of the nefarious, seditious, and treasonous devil known as J. Jermaine Bay, ex-rel Jermaine Diaz Spencer, the fork-tongued demon. In summary, the people have, now I want you to pay attention to this in summary. The people have more veto power than the Sultan. This man is something else. Did y'all just hear what I read? This is his email. The Sultan, in good faith, must share his powers in order to avoid unconstitutional acts. Listen. Such as the denial of due process of procedure, unconstitutional. Listen. Look at what he did. He built it up. Unconstitutional acts may be found to be void by the Constitutional Council, the High Council, the Supreme Court, or the High Court. Wherefore, it is the obligation of the executive branch and the legislative branch to also enact their constitutional powers in the event of contentious dispute. Did you hear what I just said? Do you understand what's being stated here?
Yes, and the colonial powers is laughing at his ass too with this.
What did you understand here? If you say that you do, tell me what you think you understand here. And I'll give you the full interpretation. Go ahead, Buck. Tell me what you think you see here. Read it again. I want you to read it and then interpret it.
In summary, the people have more veto power than the Sultan, Well, just that line right there, if the people have more veto power than the Sultan, then you have the people vetoing everything around. They're gonna be vetoing each other. The Sultan, in good faith, must share his power in order to avoid unconstitutional act. The Sultan does not share his faith. I mean, the Sultan does not share his power and faith. It's like you said, it's if there's an unconstitutional act that's going on, it should be vetoed. The Sultan should veto it. If it's unconstitutional for the people, then where am I at? Okay.
You're yeah, right here. In
Okay.
good faith, must share his powers.
Power to
Liberty with
avoid
foolishness.
unconstitutional act,
Continue.
such as the denial of due process of procedures. Unconstitutional acts may be found to be void by the Constitutional Council, the High Council, the Supreme Court, or the High Court. That line right there is basically stating it all over. They have veto power themselves. They can, it's like, how can I say it? With that being said right there, it's like everybody has their own powers to do what they will. You see what I'm saying? And the government shouldn't be like that.
No, the government. No, that's how it is. Yeah,
I
each
mean,
branch has its
what
own
I'm
power.
saying, yeah, what I'm saying is like, okay, all these right here, when it comes to the veto, all of them don't have that power to veto.
Oh no, you don't. No, right.
That's what I'm talking about. That part right
Sure.
there. Supreme Court or High Court, wherefore is the obligation of the executive branch and the legislative branch to also enact their constitutional powers in the event of continuous disputes. I have this. I have
I digress.
digressed.
I digress.
I digress.
So that last paragraph, that last sentence.
There
What?
is. It's only one constitution. The empire. I mean, right now it's all about the empire. It's only one constitution. How can it be right now at this moment? How can it be different constitutions that's gonna override the empire's constitution? To me it doesn't make any sense.
Well, let me help you out with where I'm going with this.
Point.
Go ahead. Someone had a point of interest. Go ahead.
It looks like he's trying to pull the legislators and the executive branch, trying to pull them into the situation as well.
Thank you. Exactamente. In Spanish, Panamanian Spanish, exactamente means exactly. Lo viste. Exactamente, compa, lo viste. Exactly, bro, you saw it. How you like that, Jay? Does that bother you that I speak Spanish too and you don't? Boy, go sit down somewhere. Exactly. Wherefore, it is the obligation of the executive. He's calling for it right there in this summary. You got to see it. Dealing with this clown is like, y'all remember back in the days in the 90s, you go to the mall, they had those people selling those picture frames, those pictures that it don't look like nothing, but then you have to look at it a certain way, and then the picture emerges like a 3D picture. That's what this is like with this dude. You got to read between the lines with him. He's telling you what he's telling you, just not directly.
Point.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. To add to that, with that being said, it seems like by him calling upon them, there's someone there that he's trying to reach out to let them cause the confusion. So
Exactly.
he knows someone in those one or two branches. He knows someone's communicating with him, so he's trying to get them to cause confusion.
That's Makara and that's Dre. The executive branch and the legislative branch. Dre was, and it was supposed to be Akil. They just convinced me to go with Dre. I was going to choose Akil as the prime. I wish I did. Because now I see in hindsight why they wanted it to be the puppet, the man who has Jay's hands all up in his back, the Cookie Monster, Sesame Street Cookie Monster, right? Puppet Dre. And Makara, who I don't know how, because she was livid after that call where Jay and Nova, he went off. Oh, I can't believe she did that. The house don't like her. They're always talking bad about her. All these things. And I'm like, okay, well, why didn't you say nothing? Well, I didn't want to ruffle any feathers. That's what she said to me. I'm like, oh, God, the weakness. We need strength. Story would have played that. That's why they didn't want Story around. Story would have cussed over the hell out in that meeting right then and there. She would have came off mute like, excuse me, because Monica ain't got no damn authority. None. Not over the speaker, not over the prime, not over me, not over nobody. In summary, the people have more veto power than the Sultan. Just that alone is like, bro, are you serious right now? The Sultan in good faith must share his powers, really. See, he didn't want me to have the powers. What happened is when he started to see that that third eye was waking up on him, that's when he started to come with this narrative behind my back amongst all the people that he's calling upon in that last paragraph. Started to paint this picture of he's a monarch, he's a dictator, and all these things when he saw that I was not rolling with him like that anymore. When he started to see that I'm rising up on him. When he noticed that that third eye started to open up on him. And I started to see him for who he is. I started to see past the smiles, the pretty faces, the pretty talk, the pretty suit, the pretty presentation, and saw the black heart. That's when I became a dictator. That's when I became a monarch. That's when I became all these things. So he was building up this narrative over a period of time. So by the time September came, this is his Batman signal. In summary, the people have more veto power than the Sultan. So right now, Mr. Tumbleweed over there ain't got no power, no authority. He's just mute. They got a social media policy they don't put on him because that's the same policy they was trying to put on me, AMPAC 2.0. He doesn't have no veto powers because it belongs to everyone. Everybody got the veto power. There's no privileges that he has. His only power is to deal with the colonists. His power is externally, not internally. Internally, you ain't got no power, sir. That's what he was trying to tell me. Your powers are external, dealing with the Europeans. Come on, Morris. Come on, Ampan, Laura Coppolis, wake up. I don't care nothing about Dre, Isaac, all they're done. There's a difference in status here. These people been around day one. They know what's going on. I consider the fact that these PGFs are innocent bystanders who don't really know no better. They're getting caught up in the confusion. But Isaac knows better. Watson Ali knows better. When he tried to say, "Oh, I don't consult the speaker," I called the speaker to consult based on this state of emergency. She did not answer my call. I'm like, okay, I got something for you. What did I proceed to do thereafter? I called a meeting for the entire government, briefed them, and keep in mind, consultation don't mean permission. It means I'm about to jump off the bridge, Mom. Don't do that, son. You got a lot of life ahead of you. Thank you for the advice, Mom, but I'm doing it anyway, and I jump off the bridge. That's consultation. Go to the doctor. I don't like what you said. I'm getting another opinion. I don't like what none of y'all say. I'm not messing with none of you doctors. Maybe I'll just go with an herbalist. That's what consultation is, not permission. So I brought the government together. In that meeting is when we found out that I was excommunicated and removed from accessing the database. Look at that. What, because of a veto? Or is it because of the affidavit? Or is it both? At any rate, I said, okay, no worries. I'm going to call her again, but this time with the whole government. So now this time they're all in this meeting, and this is where it became a what? A pity party. This is where the removed and stripped former incompetent wazir Amir Hassan El said, for the record, in a crying voice, in a whiny little girly's voice, who's going to write the documents if we remove Jay? Oh, so what you're saying is you agree with all that I'm saying. The problem is that you ain't got the capabilities of writing the documents, so you need Jay around. Your dependency on him has led to your political demise. To be so dependent on one person is unsustainable. It's incompetent. Write your own daggone documents. McCarter didn't write them high court documents. He ain't capable. And that's the sedition. Got this judge writing documents for the legislative branch. At what point does that come to an end? That's a slippery slope. My only thing was, let's break that up. Let's stop this. That was my thing with this entire situation. In good faith, not by the law. The Sultan in good faith, not by the law. What's the law? The same constitution that he was preaching about up here, right? That he wrote and I wrote it, I did it, I wrote it, me, I wrote it, I wrote this and I wrote that. That's what he said in the recording. This is not slander. This is not defamation. These are facts on a recording. Period. In good faith or by the law, sir. So, not by the law, in good faith, I must share the power because what? You said so? Who the hell are you? Then he says, unconstitutional acts may be found to be void by the Constitutional Council, the High Court, the High Council, Supreme Court, High Court. Wherefore, it is the obligation of the executive branch and the legislature. So it's like saying, so since you want to do that, I'm going to do this. Y'all hear that? Wherefore, it is the obligation of the executive branch and the legislative branch to also enact their constitutional powers to have you removed. Uh-huh. So, 101 questions. The 101 questionnaire in blue letters came with one response because, I'll say it again, right? He who is asking is as king. He who's asking the questions is controlling the narrative. Who do you think you're dealing with, Jay? So what was my response to this incompetent, seditious, malfeasant, corrupt email? Can somebody read it, please?
Islam. Veto is final. Thanks in advance.
That's all I got to say. I'm not answering your questions. Who the hell are you? I'm the Sultan, the head of state of the Empire of Morocco, whose ratification of the Constitution gave it the weight of the state. Don't play with me. I'm not Dre. I'm not Kendon. I'm not a mere Kane L where you can just pick me out of my position where I was supposed to be the minister of defense. Now all of a sudden I'm some paper pusher and I could hardly stay sober long enough to write a document. I'm not Isaac. That's your main little punk. I'm none of these people. And you should have learned that about me over these years. Countless conversations with me. I thought you said that you study people's psychology and their behavior. Well, what the hell did you learn from me? Clearly, you didn't learn nothing because I ain't no damn fool. I'm not answering your questions. First of all, they don't have any basis You're just looking to muddy the waters, and you're not going to control the narrative. So, boop, veto is final. Thanks in advance. And that's what set off this motion, Morris. This is what set it all off because I don't. And I refused to allow him to chunk me out or punk me out. This is what started everything. So don't go in the emails talking about somebody was seeking to escape a so-called debt, and that's why we committed some coup. Because I'm the head of state. I have all the power and authority. Again, you're trying to tell everyone that I should, in good faith, not by the law, but in good faith, because you said so, that I need to share all my powers. Well, clearly I have a lot of power then, huh? That you need for me to share it with everyone. He tried to create this ridiculous group text between me, Dre, McCarran himself, saying that it's called the four high chairs. You see what he's trying to do, trying to put us all on equal footing. No, sir. It's one high chair and three benches. Huh? The executive branch, the judicial branch, and the legislative branch. And I, as the Sultan, preside over all of it. This is his email. And this is my response. So what did the veto say? Veto is final. All right. Let's go to the veto. And we've done this before. Well, let's do it again, shall we? Where is my veto? Let me move this around. This is it right here. Rashid, are you there? Can you read that for me one more time, please?
Sir. To the government in the house of the Empire of Morocco, pursuant to Article 5, Section 8 of the Empire of Morocco Constitution, I am returning herewith without my approval the policy on chain of command of complaints and email and communication chain of command policy, the policy on domestic sensitive materials, and policy on complaint procedures without delay, effective immediately.
Pause real quick. So again, I detected nefarious activity with this because this policy comes out of the blue after your attorney, your de jure Attorney General Kanye Shobe came to me with complaints about J-Bay. And the same mechanisms that he was using, such as emails and text messages, to prove his to show his evidence and prove his position, is why these policies were written up. Mind you, that when it was being presented, the floor was asking a lot of very interesting questions, especially a lot of people from AMPAC. I remember Mariama coming off mute. Watson Ali, after that meeting, called me to say to me, Sultan, I think that J-Bay and them are trying to circumvent your authority with these bills. This is what he said. But in that meeting, he wants to come off in the meeting with the entire government. He wants to come off mute. Again, it's a J-Bay pity party. You want to come off mute. Oh, I don't think this is right because the party is not here to defend himself in this hearing. This is not a hearing, fool. It's a briefing. It's a consultation that was denied to me by the speaker in her professional capacity. So now I got to bring it to the entire government because ain't nobody going to say that I failed to consult anyone. You see what I'm talking about, and he still did it. But Watson Ali didn't have the balls to come off mute, the testicular fortitude to come off mute on that June 28th recording to say, point of interest, and with all due respect, Jay, you shouldn't talk like that to the Sultan. I mean, you should have respect to the office for the office. You didn't say none of that. Nobody said nothing. Everyone was mute. And Makara's reasons is, I didn't want to ruffle any feathers. Well, I'm going to ruffle all these feathers. How about that? So that's the reason for this policy. That's the reason why I vetoed these policies. They're trying to stifle and muzzle people. Because you know they're gonna come with complaints about you. So you wrote this policy to protect yourself and Monica, because people had a lot of complaints about Monica. Not Dre so much. I don't want to have complaints with Dre, but damn sure Monica and Dre. I mean, and Jay. So I'm just gonna protect us, you know. We'll just put the power of the pen on the Moors. Just write a policy. I got Abdul in my back pocket. He'll pass it. Try again. Wrong answer. Wrong answer, sir. And you found out FAFO. And this is why he's struggling right now. He's in distress because I will not keep my mouth shut about this, and I'm not. I will keep exposing you, Jay, all the way down the finish line of decolonization, keeping in mind that I have my eyes on the prize. You're secondary, but you're still a problem. All of y'all are a problem. I can multitask. I can focus on the forward direction, i.e. 26 letters that all of you have received. These are official government correspondences. Islam, I will control the narrative on planet Earth. While at the same time, I'm going to continue to deal with you and your seditious group until you stand down and lay down somewhere. We're not going to have this two sultans thing going. No, Hendon ain't no damn sultan. Talking about some special election. He's a drug dealer. Go ahead, brother. Continue. My reason.
Islam. My reason for said disapproval is due to detected nefarious activity surrounding the drafting of these policies. As the author, Chief Justice J. Jermaine Bey rushed to draft these policies in a moment in which his character and behavior was in question and under scrutiny by Consul General Kanye Shobey. Before reaching out to me as the Sultan, the Consul General attempted to reach out to the Prime Minister, but to no avail. The Consul General of the Empire was severely disrespected by Chief Judge J. Bey and used the same mechanisms to provide evidence of his claim that is now being stifled by these policies. Additionally, as a member of the judiciary, J. Bey has no political interest in writing policies for the executive branch. Policies that he would one day use to adjudicate a potential case. All policies rest with the government, as outlined in Article 23, Section 1 of our Constitution. For these reasons, I find these policies to be unconstitutional and notwithstanding.
Pause right there. Period. Point blank. But what did he do with that email? He focused only on himself. You see how it's all about him? Who wrote the Constitution? Who did this? Who did that? Me. I did it. So since I did it, and according to your veto powers, then everything is void ab initio. No, because you didn't write it when you was the chief judge of the empire, sir. Oh. I'll say it again. Don't play with me, Jay. Don't play with me. You was not the judge of the empire. You didn't become the judge of the empire until June 8, 2024. The same day as I became the Sultan of the Empire of Morocco. Don't play with me. I don't like when people insult my intelligence. That's one of the things that really, and he's the same way with that, so he should know better. Go ahead, brother.
Furthermore,
Oh, before you go, hold on. I meant to make another point. So there's other reasons. Why didn't you focus on this? The real reason is that Chief Judge J. Bey rushed the drafted policy in a moment in which his character and behavior was in question and under scrutiny. Why is your character always in question, Jay? When that coup d'etat happened with AMPAC 1.0, the original AMPAC under Dawood David Taylor, Dawood Habib El, Wazir Dawood Habib El. By that time, he already was under 2 investigations with AMPAC 1.0. Mm-hmm. So he couldn't bear the last investigation, and he said, "You know what? I'm just gonna take everything and run off with, and start a whole new demonstration." That's why they're AMPAC 2.0. His character is always under question. Let me say this again for the record. This is not slander. This is not defamation, sir. These are facts and truths about you and your character. This is who J. Jermaine Bay is. These are facts and truth, not slander, malfeasance, or misinterpretations. You just happen to not like the truth. Too damn bad. Continue, brother. My reasons.
My reason for said disapproval is due to detected nefarious activity surrounding the drafting of these policies. Are we starting over?
No, my bad. No, that's not. No, we're not starting over. Where
Furthermore,
were you? All the way. Yeah, that's where we were. I'm sorry. Yep.
Furthermore, specific to the policy on domestic sensitive materials, it is a clear attempt to suppress the disrespectful, unpatriotic, and damaging statements made towards His Majesty by Chief Judge J. Jermaine Bay and Executive Chief of Staff Nova Iluel during a recorded meeting dated June 28, 2025.
Pause for a second. That recording hasn't been released yet. I'm that's not checkers. It's the long game. Patience. Right, Jay? That recording is going to be very telling. These were some damaging statements that were being made. That's the reason why he didn't want it to be surfaced, and he didn't want it to surface.
No.
So when I told Drake share the recording with the consul general, he said, "Oh, that's a private." No, it's not private. Since when? Says who? All of a sudden, it's private. So I shared it with him anyway, and I will share with everyone in due time. That recording is not private, but suddenly it's private. And that's the reason why I made an emphasis about this recording or that particular policy in this section of the veto. So why didn't you bring that up, Jay, in your 101 questions with your blue letters? Why you didn't bring that up? Why you didn't point to that? Yeah, I thought so. Go ahead, brother.
Statements made such as AMPAC don't play that by the Executive Chief of Staff, alluding to the idea that the state of AMPAC is the sovereign over the empire and His Majesty the Sultan. And I'm the director and producer, and you are just a lead actor, stated by the chief judge while addressing His Majesty the Sultan. Many other insolent and damaging things as an attack against His Sharifian Majesty were stated for the record. I asked the Prime Minister to share this recording with the Consul General, and unfortunately, he attempted to flag this recording as private. Shortly thereafter, the policy on domestic sensitive materials was drafted by the same subordinate, defiant, and belligerent judge who egregiously insulted the Sultan on the record and before the government, House, and judiciary. My highest obligation as Sultan is to protect the empire and its people by observing the Constitution. And when concerns arise regarding the health of the empire, I shall swiftly settle the matter on behalf of the people, regardless of the opposition.
Regardless, I don't care if it's Jay. I don't care if it's you. You don't pump fear in my heart.
Islam.
Let me say this again. I'm not Dre. I'm not Monica. I'm not Isaac. I'm not Watson Ali. I'm not Matheno. I'm not Amir, Cain El, or Hassan. I'm none of these people. I am Sultan Abdul Smith Al-Kabir. And you just learned about me, Jay. This includes you. I don't care who the opposition is. I'm going to deal with you, whether it's Trump, whether it's you, whether it's Obama, whether it's Biden. I don't care. A con artist is a con artist. An obstructionist is an obstructionist. A colonist is a colonist. Now deal with all of y'all equally with the power of the pen. What were you thinking? You really thought you had me understood and controlled. You really thought you had me under control. I'm not Isaac, though. None of these clowns. I'm not Dre, your little son. Regardless of the opposition, as a matter of countermeasures, because I didn't just leave it. I didn't leave the people absent of anything. Because of all of these complaints that kept arising. DJ Alexander had complaints that he raised, he voiced his concern in one of the meetings. Wazir, DJ Alexander, my dad, recognized Ali Bamu. Is this AMPAC empire or what? So my affidavit reflected the concerns of the people. He wasn't the only one who said it, and he ain't the only one who was thinking it. A lot of people, everyone are thinking that, but he just happened to have the testicular fortitude to say what others were thinking but weren't willing to say. And you didn't take that too well. You did not take it too well. Go ahead, brother. Let's talk. Let's look real quick at the countermeasures to deal with complaints. Not your nefarious policies, but this. Go ahead, brother.
As a matter of countermeasures for these inappropriate and despicable policies, the Consul General has drafted a bill to establish a human resource department that shall be brought to the floor of the government and the House for review and possible ratification.
Period. Go ahead.
These proposed policies under a bill of consideration authored by Chief Justice J. Bay are incongruous and unconstitutional, therefore has earned my veto and disapproval. Abdul Smith Al-Kabir, His Majesty the Sultan, Empire Morocco, 29 September 2025.
Thank you, Wazir.
Yes, sir.
Dimti.
Islam.
Dimti the jour Dimti, the jour Wazir. Got this dude playing double roles. He's the fake Sultan and the fake Wazir. You guys are laughable. This is elementary. This is ridiculous. This is beneath me.
Islam. Point of interest,
Go ahead,
Sultan.
bro.
Now, looking back, really, like, what really got interrupted was a undercover drug organization under the guise using the empire, as the front. That's what it was, because all their behavior is like fake mob like.
Right. That's what it was. That's yeah. Mansour, I mean, he was strong arm you now. But Mansour, boy, his record, oh Lord. I didn't know nothing about that. I didn't know nothing about Ken Dennis manslaughter. I didn't know nothing about Jay's cocaine trafficking. We knew about his federal white collar crime. This is not slander. This is not malfeasance. This is not defamation. This is public records. Transparency wasn't exercised here. I didn't know nothing about all this. Nothing. I didn't know about Dominique's fascination with pills, where she thinks she's Eminem. 90s Eminem.
Yeah.
So this right here now, and we're as we get ready to close, because there's obviously going to be a part 2 to this. Affidavit of yes, Jay. I got another. We're gonna talk some more, sir. Affidavit of truth, constitutional crisis and sedition, state of emergency. This is a state of emergency that we're in right now, but not yet, not officially. I didn't call for a state of emergency yet. Let's see. When did I call? When did I officially address the state of emergency? State of emergency address. It was on October 4th when I officially declared state of emergency. So I'm abusing my powers. I don't respect due process. Right? I'm I'm a monarch. I'm a tyrant. I'm a dictator. This is what he's been trying to tell the Moors behind the scenes, behind my back. This is probably the angle that he used to get them to actually get them to follow along with the excommunication. That in it of itself is the sedition. A government elite excommunicated and blocked the head of state from accessing the same government database that he has authority over, and told the rest of his nationals that he's supposed to be protecting, that they can't talk to him. And what did these people do? They went along with that directive. That all that, like, do people know what sedition is? We've already examined the definition. Just the simple fact that AMPAC, Moroccopolis, followed along with some judge's directive or some group, AMPAC, I don't care what they did for the empire. The hierarchy is the hierarchy. The structure is the structure. The constitution is the constitution. They had absolutely no rights or authority of any sort to tell any of the nationals or even the government officials that they cannot speak to the Sultan. And y'all some damn fools for going along with that directive. That's why you got whack-a-mole. You're complicit in this edition. So let's look at this dictatorish, monarchish, tyrannical email when I issued the affidavit. Please, Rashid, read this for me.
Islam. Islam and greetings to the government, House, judiciary, and all relevant administrative authorities. In the absence of an official constitutional council, it is my understanding that the judiciary shall take its place in dealing with investigations and complaints. As the Sultan of Morocco, I command the Constitutional Council, the judiciary, the House, and/or all relevant administrative authorities to investigate a possible breach against the Constitution and seditious acts concerning certain high-ranking government officials as outlined in the attached affidavit of truth. These actions pose a clear and present danger to the stability and sovereignty of the Empire of Morocco and are to be taken seriously. As the absolute supreme authority, it is my duty and obligation to protect the empire and its people from any foreign or domestic threat that could bring harm to our sovereignty and undermines our varying stages of advancement of decolonization reforms. I trust that all relevant authorities will be fair, honest, and equitable with this investigation, as due process must take place. But under no circumstances should you turn a blind eye. Deal with this matter in the strict sense of the law, based on the evidence provided, rather than any personal relationships with either of these officials.
Pause for a second, real quick. Why do you think I said that? This is October 1st. The recording took place on June. In June. June, August, September, October, November. Right? 4 months. No, 3 months. June, July, August, September, October. Well, what did I say happened with the group meeting? There's something to drink here. It turned into a pity party. Who's gonna write the document? Excuse me, we shouldn't be talking about this in this hearing. The party is not here. Go sit down somewhere, Watson. And you need to return the money to the national, sir, that you stole for J Bay and AMPAC 2.0. You need to return the money back to the nationals of AMPAC that you stole, Watson Ali. Grand Sheik, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. You a coward. with your tail tucked between your legs, bruh. I brought you in. I gave you the position of consul general. You owe me a little bit more respect than that, keeping in mind that it was you who brought to my attention Article 10 and the fact that they're trying to circumvent my authority. What a waste of a grand sheik. That's why they fired you. I knew that they were going to rush to protect Jay and Monica and Dre and AMPAC 2.0. I trust that all relevant authorities will be fair, honest, and equitable with the investigation as due process must take place. What else do you want me to say? Does this sound like dictatorship? But under no circumstance should you turn a blind eye. Isn't that what they did? They swept it under the rug. They exactly what I demanded of them as the Sultan. They disregarded my orders and my authority on behalf of a subordinate judge. That is the sedition. That's why it's a state of emergency. And that's why all of them got removed. Don't play with me. I don't know who y'all thought y'all was dealing with. That's the part that bothers me the most, is the insulting of my intelligence. Deal with this matter in the strict sense of the law, based on the evidence provided, rather than any personal relationships with either of these officials. What happened? It happened anyway. So when Jermaine gets up in 174 and says, the whole government came together and said, no, we're not going to overthrow the government. He's talking about AMPAC 2.0. So all these seditious toy soldiers came together and said, no, we're with Jay. We're not just going to let the Sultan exercise his authority. Jay is our Sultan. A call for a speedy investigation and potential adjudication, as the empire being in a state of emergency puts the government on hold, and that cannot be prolonged. I have been forced to rein in the order, and therefore I am forcing you to do what's right on behalf of the people. Thanks for your attention to this serious matter that got swept under the rug. And I don't think there's no need. Here's the attached affidavit that a lot of people didn't get. No one knew about it. This is a mysterious document to the empire. This is a mysterious document to the empire. We have went over this affidavit before, but I guess as we close out, let's go ahead and read it. Go ahead, dear brother. I'm gonna let you read all the way through, to recognize the time, because it's 10 o'clock. We're gonna close out pretty soon here. There's gonna be a part 2. I'm not done. I got a lot to say. So go ahead, brother. Read that for me. October 1st, 2025. Go ahead.
1 October 2025, constitutional crisis and sedition in the Empire of Morocco, state of emergency. Affidavit of truth and declaration of constitutional breach. By His Majesty the Sultan Al-Kabir, sovereign of the Empire of Morocco, before the Constitutional Council and the people of the Empire, I, Abdul Smith Al-Kabir, by the grace of the Almighty and the will of the people, Sultan of the Empire of Morocco and the absolute sovereign authority thereof, hereby issue this affidavit of truth in my capacity as the guarantor of the Constitution, the independence of the judiciary, and the reign of order and justice throughout our domains. Preliminary statement. This affidavit is submitted to bring to the attention of the Constitutional Council, the government, the House, and all relevant authorities a matter of grave constitutional concern. It pertains to the conduct of certain high officials of the empire, which appears to be in direct contravention of the foundational principles of separation of powers and the rule of law as enshrined in our illustrious Constitution. 2. Constitutional framework on executive authority. The supreme authority of the state is unequivocally vested in me, His Majesty the Sultan Al-Kabir. This is affirmed in Article 10 of the Constitution, which states, quote, the Sultan shall preside over the Prime Minister as the absolute sovereign authority in all matters of political, legal, judicial, education, economic, social, and military affairs, unquote.
Pause there 1 quick second. By the way, this is the video right here. Colonial Monterey, Monte, Colorado, AMPAC National Transparency. Go back and take a look. We'll do that as we close out. Oh, shoot. What happened? I want to show you something. I want to go, now that here we go, right here. Preside. To occupy the place of authority or of president. Keeping in mind that the word preside is in president. President, right? If you were to pronounce it in that way. Preside is in president. Chairman, moderator, etc., to direct, control, or regulate proceedings as chief officer or to preside at public meetings, to preside over the Senate, etc. So it's to direct, control, or regulate, not the definition that he gave, which was his definition, right? He had a definition, his own special definition, because he's so special, huh? All right, brother, go ahead, continue. Oh, you gotta go to there we go.
This article establishes a clear and irrefutable chain of command and allegiance. All executive, judicial, and governmental authority flows from and is subordinate to the office of the Sultan. The actions of all officials must reflect this ultimate allegiance to the sovereign and the constitutional order that I embody and guarantee. 3. Inappropriate allegiance and belligerence of officials. It has been observed that the Prime Minister, DeAndre Dre Bey, Chief Judge J. Jermaine Bey, and Executive Chief of Staff Nova Iluel have engaged in patterns of communication and conduct that suggest the formation of a faction operating with a belligerent and inappropriate personal allegiance that circumvents the sovereign authority of His Majesty the Sultan, and therefore the will of the people. Their coordinated actions, detailed below, create the perception of a cabal or parallel power structure that is not only disrespectful to the office of the Sultan, but also fundamentally undermines the constitutional order as defined by Article 10. 4. Unconstitutional conduct and defiance. Collusion between judicial and executive branches. The Constitution implicitly mandates a separation of powers to ensure checks and balances. Chief Judge J. Jermaine Bey has been engaged in regular, substantive communications within an unofficial group chat that includes the Executive Chief of Staff, me and wazirs of the executive branch. This constitutes a clear and unacceptable collusion between the judiciary and the executive, compromising the impartiality and independence of the judicial authority that His Majesty the Sultan is sworn to guarantee per Article 75. Defiance of a lawful directive. Upon finally recognizing this unconstitutional practice, I issued a formal call for these officials to cease and desist all such communications. Despite this, communications have persisted between the judge and Prime Minister. Furthermore, the Prime Minister expressed to me in the Wazir Council meeting dated September 28, 2025, that they will continue communications in the group chat, and to date, boldly has done so. This continued defiance demonstrates a willful disregard for Article 10 of the Constitution and amounts to an act of insubordination against the constitutional order presided over by His Sharifian Majesty. Unauthorized dissemination of confidential information. Further compounding this violation, Prime Minister DeAndre Dre Bay improperly shared a private recording of the same Wazir Council proceeding with Chief Judge J. Jermaine Bay. The Chief Judge then compounded this breach by disseminating the confidential recording to 3 of the 5 judges. This act violates the confidentiality of governmental deliberations, represents a gross abuse of power by both the Prime Minister and the Chief Judge, seeks to improperly influence the judiciary by exposing it to privileged executive deliberations. Complicity of the judiciary. The other judges who were privy to this confidential recording and failed to report this profound breach of protocol are implicated in this misconduct. They're silent. Islam.
You know, let's keep it real, Morris. If I wanted Isaac's head, if I wanted Dominique's head, this is how it would read. Dominique McClue L and Isaac Mahdi L, whatever his name is, were privy to this confidential recording and failed to report this profound breach of protocol, whatever. Point being is that I would have put their names in. This affidavit serves as a magnifying glass. It's absolutely focused. I'm burning up the ants. I'm burning up the leaves. It's specific for 3 names: Mo, Curly, and Larry. Since you want to play these Three Stooges games in the email, okay, let's play this Three Stooges game. It's specific to these 3 seditious individuals. Not no one else. I didn't have a problem with no one else. Everyone else jumped in to assist and be complicit. So then you get caught in the crossfire. Either you with me or you're against me. We're at war. Which part of war do people do not understand? Which means I'm now at this point, since you took sides with the demon, then you're gonna get some of this shrapnel. You're gonna get some of these strays. So don't cry me a river about how you don't like how I'm talking to you or about you. You put yourself in that situation. You should have been upstanding. You should have had a moral compass. Didn't your mama taught you better than this? You should have integrity, standards. Men, talking to you men they are tasked with the responsibility to uphold justice. That's men. Little boys, well, they're still in their growing stages. So I guess Isaac is still in his growing stage. I guess Amir is still in his growing stage. Watson Ali, Amir Hassan L, Matheno, back to Watson Ali, Kendon, right? You're still in your growing stages. You haven't reached manhood yet. It's all about character, Morris. Not gender, not age, not height, not nationality, not color, not creed, not religion. I don't care about none of that. I would work if a white man petitioned to assist the empire. Come on, good brother. No inequality. Economic liberty, no inequality. All nationalities can have an opportunity to work for the empire. However, it is unconstitutional for them to hold the power of the pen. I recognize that. But that don't mean that I can't work with Europeans like Django did. Didn't Malcolm X regret not using the assistance of that white woman that approached him? White people have always been down for us. Not all of them, but a great deal of them. But the biggest problem are the black devils. This affidavit is absolutely specific to 3 names. And I was expecting competence. What I received in return was absolute cult fellowship, disgraceful incompetence. So you cannot say, honestly speaking, that you're the quote unquote competent authority, because between October 1st, 2025 and October 26th, when you finally had your little special elections, that whole time period you showed over and over and over and over again. You're not fit for leadership. You're a bunch of chumps. Talking to the men. You're chumps, which means you can't be trusted. You don't have a moral fiber. You don't have standards. You will sell out the empire for dollars. There's no way I could trust y'all. Y'all would easily sell out the empire. Any man who does not have that does not have standards, don't stand for something, such as truth, peace, freedom, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Our highest principles is enshrined in our flag, for crying out loud. The 5 principles, the 5 stars. And you go against that. I'm talking to the men, the boys, the little boys of AMPAC 2.0. I'm talking to you. If you don't have a backbone to uphold the constitutional order, I don't even want you around me anyway. I need resolute men around me, soldiers, warriors, not chumps and punks. Go ahead, brother.
Islam. Their silence amounts to acquiescence and compromises the integrity of the entire judicial institution. Therefore, these judges must recuse themselves from taking part in any proceedings dealing with this matter, as they themselves may come under investigation.
You disappeared, brother. You there? You want me to put yourself on mute, guys?
Pardon me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here. Proceeding dealing with this matter. 5, specific acts of sedition and threats by the executive chief of staff. Further to the general patterns of misconduct, I must bring to the consul's attention specific documented acts by the executive chief of staff, Nova Iluel, that constitute direct sedition, threats, and a fundamental breach of her oath of office. Usurpation of sovereign authority. During a recorded meeting of the Wazir Council on the 28th day of June, 2025, the individual Nova Iluel made the statement, "AMPAC don't play that." This statement, in its context and delivery, clearly implies that the state of AMPAC holds a position of authority or sovereignty over the policies and operations of the Empire of Morocco and its government. This is a profound and seditious act, as it explicitly denies the absolute sovereign authority of the Sultan as mandated by Article 10 of the Constitution. Suggests allegiance to AMPAC as a shadow government rather than the empire as the sovereign authority. Attempts to intimidate government officials by invoking a foreign power. Unpatriotic threats and personal allegiance. On the 29th day of June, 2025, following the aforementioned meeting, the same official, Nova Iluel, engaged in a text message communication with a government official. Within this exchange, she made the following statements, which I hereby enter into the record. I am giving him one last chance to do right by Jay. This statement reveals that her primary loyalty is not to the Sultan or the Constitution, but to a personal allegiance with Chief Judge J. Jermaine Bey. It demonstrates that her official actions are guided by a desire to serve this personal faction, making her unfit for the high office of the executive chief of staff.
Absolutely unfit. Unfit, it meaning that it don't fit.
And she a Castilian. Why ain't she
And she's a
Castilian?
Castilian. So go on
Yeah,
and kick rock,
how the
Monica.
hell she get L? Remove that from your name, Castilian.
It's a done deal. Go ahead, brother.
Islam, you about to get that ass spanked. This is an unambiguous and vulgar threat directed at His Majesty the Sultan. Such behavior is unbecoming of any public servant, let alone one of the most senior officials in the executive branch. It creates an environment of intimidation and fear, undermining the orderly and lawful administration of the government. The Sultan said some shit on a recorded line. This statement reveals two potential high crimes. First, it suggests the existence of a recorded conversation with me and without my prior knowledge or consent, which would be a gross violation of privacy and state security. Second, her casual and disrespectful tone in referencing the sovereign is an unpatriotic act and demonstrates a profound lack of respect for the office of the Sultan. The actions of Nova Iluel.
No. Don't read it like that. Read her real name, Monica Ortega.
Yeah, Monica Ortega. The
Yeah,
actions of
read
Monica
that.
Ortega, as evidenced by her own words, go beyond mere misconduct. They represent a deliberate pattern of seditious speech, the making of threats, and the establishment of personal allegiances that directly undermine the sovereignty and constitutional order of the Empire of Morocco. Her continued presence in a position of authority constitutes a clear and present danger to the security of the state and the dignity of the people. 6. Conclusion and petition. The actions detailed herein by said government officials are a clear and present danger to the stability and integrity of the Empire of Morocco and are inconsistent with their oath of office and their constitutional duty of undivided allegiance to the sovereign authority of His Majesty the Sultan, as mandated by Article 10. Their conduct establishes a pattern of defiance, collusion, and breach of confidentiality that strikes at the very heart of our constitutional democracy. Therefore, by the powers inherent in my office and my duty to preserve the empire from all threats, both foreign and domestic, I hereby command the Constitutional Council to immediately commence a formal and exhaustive investigation into these allegations, suspend these officials pending the conclusion of this investigation, summon the named officials, Monica Ortega, DeAndre Bay, and Jermaine Spencer, to provide sworn testimony before the council, issue a binding ruling on the constitutionality of these actions with all possible speed, recommend to me the full measure of constitutional and disciplinary measures warranted, up to and including removal from office and criminal prosecution, to cleanse our government of this corruption and restore the constitutional order. A Moroccan judge of the empire must be impartial, honest, upright, and honorable. And Jermaine Diaz Spencer fails at these necessary attributes.
You can end right there, and that's why I blew it up. So I zoomed it up.
It's long.
Yeah, this part right here. A Moroccan judge of the MJ, listen real close, Mr. Bay, Mr. Spencer. A Moroccan judge of the empire must be impartial, honest, upright, and honorable, bro. And you, sir, failed at these necessary attributes miserably. You have no place in the bench, on the bench, at the bench. So, the last bullet point. I'm talking to the administrative authority of the empire. I'm telling them to recommend to me the full measure of constitutional and disciplinary measures warranted, up to and including removal. I didn't say that you're removed. I'm asking the government to recommend it. And if you don't recommend it, okay, then it is what it is. That's not abuse of power. I'm putting the removal in the hands of the government pending this investigation. Go through the investigation, make sure that it's exhaustive, because I don't want to get this wrong, right? These are allegations, but based in evidence, though, you said AMPAC don't play that. So what you were supposed to do, ma'am, was present yourself to the to whatever the authority would have been, which in this case I suppose the judges, because we have no constitutional council at the moment. And what I was expecting was for her to say, "Oh, well, I didn't mean that. I meant this, that, and whatever." And okay, slap on the wrist, whatever, because I know that we have personal allegiance here. And then the answer to the test would have been, "Okay, let's break it all up." Since that's not what it is, then prove to me that that's not what it is, and let's break it up. All the power should not be concentrated in AMPAC. See, that's the problem. The Treasury is at AMPAC. The Chief Judge is at AMPAC. The Prime Minister is at AMPAC. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, right? The Executive Director and the Executive Chief of Staff. The address is at AMPAC. Everything is at AMPAC. No. Hell no. You talking about we need to spread the power, share the power? Yes. So how about we spread out AMPAC? And we put the capital address at Georgia, AMPAG, since I live in AMPAC. Makes sense? The Treasury could be Maru, etc. Break it up. But no, instead of doing that, you want to move to this. High Court of the House, Empire of Morocco, October 5th. Right here. Their little court, Jay's authored script. Judge Judy TV judge script. First it was the district state of AMPAC because Isaac was presiding. Then he had to recuse himself. House of Saraz vote no confidence against Abdul Al-Kabir. By the 5th. When did I issue the affidavit? On the 1st. When is the state of emergency? On the 4th. When did I remove J and M? Jay and Isaac, that is, to be exact, on the 6th. Why? Because of this. And we'll get to that in part 2. Just a little teaser. We'll get to that in part 2. How did that happen? Over here. Right here. Oh, real quick. Check this out. Oh, I gotta unmute. Hold on. Can you all hear?
No.
You guys can't hear?
Can hear
No, I
you.
can't
Can hear
hear the
you. We can hear
recording.
you, Sultan, but not the video.
How can I get you to hear the video? What's the difference? What's going on? You still can't hear it? Maybe I was supposed to be the
No,
host or
sir.
something. This is when he was wilding out. Can you hear it now?
No, sir.
Okay. We'll work on that for the next one. So, but anyway, on your own, let me unmute this video. Unmute this here. Okay, excellent. Let me put it back up. So on your own, go back to the it's not the AMPAC Media channel. So he can't claim intellectual property, whatever copyrights to have it removed. This is the original AMPAC YouTube channel, and who you're looking at on the screen. Let me put it to where you can. Well, this is the part that I was trying to show y'all when he was wilding out right here. But this right here is Dawood Habib El. You can go into the playlist. How do I do this? Okay, right here. Videos, right? These are all the videos, all the original, the first few AMPAC study sessions. You got this video here, Article 3 Kazi. It's 18 minutes long. You see his likeness and image on the video. Can y'all see what I'm sharing on the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think this right here is the public inauguration. No, that's not the public inauguration. You can go see the public inauguration, so you'll see who the real wazir is. And again, I must apologize to that wazir because I did I myself, and this is why I know what they're going through and what they're dealing with, because I myself was complicit in my earlier stages, infant stages, still learning. I didn't understand what a coup d'etat was. This is now. So that's why I have a soft place in my heart for Ampan and Moroccopolis, because they're I consider them innocent bystanders. There is no excuse for Isaac and them. But this right here is the public inauguration 4 years ago, 2021, in case you guys didn't know. Okay, so you can go and examine this channel. These were some of his best work in terms of the AMPAC study sessions before he got into all this U.S. politic nonsense. And the video that you're looking for regarding the Kazi is Article 3 Kazi and AMPAC National Transparency. This one right here. As we close out, one last thing, Morris. This is the Black's Law Dictionary. I'm gonna close out with the Black's Law Dictionary and the word preside. That was fork tongue by J. Bay. Before we close out, one last thing, Morris, and then we'll close out. I'm gonna take this time now to read this ridiculous text message, long text message that he sent to our chief. Right? Violating the hierarchy. You need to talk to the Sultan, sir. Cicero, in good faith, I just wanted to reach out and remind you of a few things. I think it's important to recall that I haven't mentioned Abdul's name on YouTube since class 175 on October 25 last year. Yeah, that's all it takes. Everything that I presented today, no slander, straight facts and truths. What you did on 175 is straight slander, malfeasance, absolute defamation of my character. All it takes is one video, sir. But it's two, 174, with the incompetent and stupid-like title, The Sultan's Failed Coup Attempt. Suggesting or saying, not even suggesting, you're telling everyone that I conducted a coup against myself. I sought to seize power from myself. It doesn't get more stupid than this. I didn't have YouTube remove those recordings, those videos. No, leave them up there. It's all good. It serves as evidence. Because anyone with a competent eye will see the tomfoolery. And so in my letter addressing Trump, my latest one, the official one, with the gold seal, my wet ink signature, and 80-pound hard stock paper, I was sure to let him know, for the record, to have at it, sir. Check out 174 and 175. Because your administration, regardless of whether you like him or not, they're way more competent than you, all of us. So those competent eyes will see the truth. The Moors, they're not there yet. We're still building up. So they were this one over their head. The Sultan's failed coup attempt. Negro, please. 2, I haven't posted anything on Facebook about Abdul. So I haven't posted anything on TikTok. I haven't posted anything on Instagram. 5, I haven't posted anything on podcasts. 6, I haven't texted Abdul since 2025. Neither have I. What do you want, a cookie? 7, I haven't attempted to call Abdul since 2025. Neither have I. What do you want, a cookie? 8, I haven't initiated any emails to Abdul. I only reply to his emails. I never start any group emails. Yeah, that's the point. Clandestine operations. These emails aren't troll emails. These emails are official government correspondence to let you know, all, not you, all the nationals, I have an obligation to you, informing you of the forward progress of the empire regarding these letters that are being sent out. The Moorish offensive, diplomatic offensive. While I also at the same time dealing with you for my proclamation and the affidavit that was transmitted to all the nationals. This is official government correspondence. The video recording that you have removed being sent to everyone, official correspondence. Getting around your nonsense. You didn't like that though, did you? See, what bothers you is the email that I sent in which I gave the definition for AMPAC 2.0, and I went into the backstory about Dawood Habib El and your nefarious, nasty ways towards that good brother in connection with Monica, Dre, Chad, Brittany, and a baby. And it happened again, minus the baby. Right? Just add 4 more matriarchs, 4 more women, a so-called removed judge, and 3 other Sayrahs that compose the house. So you got more women, same playbook. Sir, again, this isn't slander. This isn't defamation. I left that dude alone. I ignored him for 6 months. But yet, during that span of time, he has created over a dozen slander videos on YouTube about me. This is why I keep saying no slander. We're victims now. We're victims now. Ain't nobody made no videos of slandering you. These are classes. Open discussion classes. Speaking on active adversaries in France and all these things, do I take an opportunity to draw a parallel to how the French government deposed the Sultan to connect it to what you did? Yes. But that's not slander. These are facts that can be proven, and I'm proving it now. So you're crying a river now. Well, cry me an ocean, lake, creek. Have at it. Posted dozens of outlandish things about me on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. Now he's sending random group emails to me and others in the middle of the night as a means of further harassment and slander. Let me tell you what harassment is. Harassment is showing up to the AG's place of employment, circling around his vehicle, fiddling around. A couple days later, the tires come up flat. Constantly emailing them and texting them about foolishness that is already being dealt with within the empire. That's harassment, criminal mischief, slashing his tires, potentially, allegedly, I don't know. I don't know. There's no formal charges or complaints about it. Well, man, when I tell you, where there's smoke, there's fire. So if one day you're circling around this vehicle and then the next day or so it's flat with a slash on it, gotta question that. Sorry. Let me be clear. The Moors over here with Tumbleweed, Kendon Bay. have moved on past Abdul and his group of supporters. I don't have supporters. I'm not Trump. There's not no Trump supporters. This is the empire. The people that came over here are those who uphold the Constitution. I wish him all the best. But in the interim, can you ask Abdul to set his sights on the path directly in front of him and stop looking side to side? In other words, could you tell him to just be quiet because he's causing problems over here. They're asking questions. I want to be answering these questions. I don't want to have to keep being in this perpetual state of damage control. Could you please tell him to keep it down? The light is too bright. It's blinding me and it's burning my skin. This is what he's saying. Fork tonguing. We all came to a fork in the road in 2025, correct? No, there's no fork in the road. It's the empire and AMPAC 2.0. You have no legitimacy. All that you're doing is notwithstanding the sovereignty of the empire per the treaties, specifically the Act of Algeciras 1906. It rests with His Majesty the Sultan. Not you, sir. You're just violating the Constitution and the treaties. You're just a violator of laws. You're a criminal with the United States in the American jurisdiction. You're a criminal in Moroccan jurisdiction. You're just a criminal all around. He says, we all came to a fork in the road in 2025. He went left, I went right. No, you didn't. You went left, I went right. But again, there is no fork. We took the righteous path. Y'all were removed and you're pretending to be on another path. But that's just play. That's the Smurfs running from Gargamel in the woods. Strictly cartoon. Now we're on two separate paths. However, Abdul and Kanye keeps jumping onto me and Kendon's pathway instead of staying on Abdul and Kanye's pathway. In other words, again, could you just let this thing just get swept under the rug? Could you please be quiet? I don't need. See, people don't even know who David Taylor is or Dawood Habib El. Most of you at this point, because he got quiet and he was able to move on and do all the things that he has done. That's what he wants to happen right now. You don't want me to bring up this affidavit and this investigation and the malfeasance and the corruption and the deceit and what he did to manipulate everyone, to turn this investigation into an impeachment against me, a fake impeachment. He don't want me to speak on that. I would ask you, good brother, in good faith, encourage both of them to stay focused on their own path and leave Kendon and the rest of us alone. Leave me alone. Now you want to cry a river. Now you're speaking for Kendon. You see, this is what I'm talking about. That's what he said in 185, in which Kendon was an afterthought, by the way. He went quiet and then started speaking and said, I went quiet because if I'm not talking, the state is still in a shadow. Who are you? You're the judge. You don't speak for the state. And right now he's speaking for the state. He's speaking for Kendon. He's a grown man. Okay, how about Sultan to Sultan then? Have your Sultan called the de jure legitimate sovereign to have this conversation. Why are you speaking for the state, for your group? Because you are the leader of the group, which means you're the Sultan. Because the leader of the group is the Sultan. The leader of the state is the Sultan, the head of state. So if you're speaking for your Sultan, then you're the Sultan. Because the Sultan speaks for his damn self. He can't speak for himself. I mean, I know he has a illiterate speaking problem, but he can still talk to me. He got my number. Tell him call me. I'll tell him everything. I'll tell him all he needs to know, straight to his face. Encourage Kanye to pay his past due debts, as promised to Dre and I. There's already an agreement there. Tell Abdul to pay his past due debts to Monica and Isaac. Encourage them to cease the slander and childish social media smear campaigns. Ain't no slander. Childish is responding to the Trump letter with a Three Stooges picture. That's childish. All your responses to an official government correspondence was all your responses were, childish, childlike. But if I make a post on social media saying that Kendon ain't no damn sultan, I'm speaking facts, Jack. If
Straight up.
not, then I'm prepared. Now, listen to this part. If not, then I'm prepared to escalate things to a level that both Kanye and Abdul are not legally prepared to stop in the United States jurisdiction. Did y'all hear what I said? So we're going to go call the police.
Oh
So,
yeah, yeah.
internal Moroccan affairs, of which the U.S. jurisdiction, the U.S. has no jurisdiction over. He's about to go give them jurisdiction. But I thought it was the entire submission. Go ahead, call the police. Because with this message right here, all 185 videos, you killed your credibility with that. That means you don't
Right.
believe your own mumbo jumbo that you're talking about on these AMPAC study sessions, huh? The U.S. ain't got no jurisdictions. Oh, and by the way, I'll just submit a PO. You said that I'm not legally prepared. Well, I got the PO, the 3.0 version assessed to my name, sir. I'll submit that to their venue. This is the wrong venue. No jurisdiction. This is an internal affair. And that's even worse because it's an internal affair. So the venue is Supreme Court, not consular court, the Supreme Court of the empire. The Supreme Court, Moors, by the way, deals with disputes amongst the Moors, and the consular court deals with the foreigners. So what you need to do, sir, so what you're gonna end up having to do, sir, is petition Chief Justice Cicero. And it will be taken seriously. There won't be any form of impartiality. I will see to that. The judges will see to that. The AG will see to that. So if you got a grievance, bring it to the Supreme Court, sir. Don't go run to your slave massa. Massa. Toby. You Toby, bro. You Toby. You won't run to the U.S. jurisdiction. Criminal action suits are imminent, and I have a lot of evidence to give to Denver, Georgia, and the United States government. He's so proud. Gather your evidence.
My question, point of interest is what evidence what evidence do you don't you have? Do you don't you have? What crime have we committed in the empire or within the United States continent?
The
I
evidence.
can't wait.
Go ahead.
Like I said, I can't wait to see what this is. But this is why we need to stay on the call and fully listen to what's happening here. This is someone calling themselves the chief judge of the Empire of Morocco that's saying now I'm going to run to the United States courts and cry what? Defamation of character? You have no name, image, and likeness. This doesn't make any sense to me. I'm mind boggled at it. This is once again him trying to muddy the waters with the chief judge, Cicero, to make him think that we've committed some crime in the United States and he has evidence on us. I literally have him on camera around my car. I literally just did a mediation with him and he has on a security vest in Denver County and cannot get a Denver County license. So that company, which may not have a license, is allowing him to work security, which is a misdemeanor and can be turned into a felony for operating as a security officer within Denver County without a license. When he worked for me, he was in Aurora that does not, they say you don't need a license in Aurora. So If he's working in Denver County, he's creating a criminal act by going to work every day with a security vest on, and he doesn't have a Denver security license. I, I, this is, I just had to say something. Sorry. This is so ridiculous of him talking about evidence, and we have text messages, emails. You calling me, you calling me a loser. You calling my kids at Denver West High School losers because they lost the game. I I
Now that's childish. You talking
my
about childish?
message to you, Jermaine. Why my message to you, Jermaine, when you hear this? Why would you talk about those children that way? Because I'm not playing the game. And as you know, you can go Google me. I'm not a loser, especially when it comes to sports. But why would you take a screenshot of a game that we lost? By the way, it was our first game. We were 20-0. We finally lost. And we were 20-1. That don't sound like somebody that's a loser. But moreover, why attack the children? Why go? So if you hear me out, Morris, open up your minds right now. I know it's been a long class. If you go to a sports website, he deliberately went out his way and went on Denver Public Schools sports website, seen when I was playing a game, probably watched the game. After we lost the game, he screenshots the next day that the results came out. He screenshots the lost results and sends it to me and calls me a loser. Matter of fact, so to continue on, I want to send you something that I want you to put on the screen for the people. Okay?
If it's
I
gonna be
yield at
on,
this
if
time.
it's gonna be on my phone, I won't be able to. That's why I don't have this
No,
text
I'm gonna
message
send
off
it
right
to you. I'm
here.
gonna send it to your email.
We got ready. It's 11 o'clock, man. Let's leave that for part two.
Okay, I
That'll be
will.
part two. That's part two.
I
Okay,
yield,
so
Morris.
Islam. So this is fun to me. I won't. Please, I'm on my knees. Please call the police. Call the popo ho. Please,
Oh,
please call the police so I can weaponize this and show the Moors what you made of. This is the ultimate expose of your character. This is all about your character, Jermaine Diaz Spencer. You told the Moors that they are to choose the entire submission, not be halfway crooks. There's no turning back. So you turn back and you have these mediators from the European jurisdiction, the American jurisdiction, to enforce an agreement that's already in Moroccan jurisdiction. That's strike one. And here you are building up for strike two. So do this, sir. Take all your evidence, including this recording right here, because this would serve as that. You will say that this is slander. He's slandering us. He won't leave us alone. That sun is too hot. And you keep finding all my layers, all my caves, all my corners, and you keep shining this light on me. Please leave us alone. So, since this video will be considered, this recording and this presentation will be considered slander, use this as your evidence as well, Chief. Wrap it up with a nice, pretty bow and put the U.S. banner on top and send it to your master, Toby. This fiasco will stop one way or another. Hopefully, you can assist with de-escalation, reconciliation. You want to reconciliate? I'm good with that. That's how that's the ceasefire. What's this? What is the provision? What is my demand for this ceasefire, sir? We have to turn the hands of time back to 1 October 2025, and you need to stand your behind before the administrative authorities and answer up to my affidavit. Then, and only then, can we cease fire unless you stand down. Period. So call the police. I'll continue to encourage Kendon's group. Who are you, man? Who are you? Can't Kendon speak for himself? And his so-called group? I don't have a group. I have nationals. You're my nationals. Kendon is my national. All y'all rogue Moors are my nationals, and I have an obligation to you per the Constitution. And I will uphold that obligation and that responsibility. But that doesn't mean that I have to have any direct relations with none of you clowns. I just let the Moxon deal with you. Protections and whatever that comes along with you, whatever privileges and rights and all that comes along from being a national of the empire. I don't have to have direct involvement with that. Let the Moxon deal with that. You see how this works? That's competency. So Kendon can't speak for himself. He's moot. He ain't got no power. He ain't got no authority. Preside means you're a fly on the wall in your jurisdiction. That's the Sultan. Refrain from saying Abdul's or Kanye's name on social media. Keep in mind that I never say Kanye's name on YouTube or any. Of course, you don't want. Didn't he tell the mediator? Could you please not let this get out to the public? Yeah, you ain't gonna speak on any of this. You have nothing to speak on. The best you got is I'm from Panama. That's the best you got. There ain't nothing in my background. I got a clean, squeaky clean back. I'm sure you did your background check on me to try to manipulate further things against me, but you couldn't. So all you got is some green card. Yeah, good luck with that. I'll keep it that way until I'm convinced that my patients can no longer be restrained. Well, stop restraining it. No one ain't forcing you to restrain it. Let loose, fool. Anyways, I thought it was worth one last effort to communicate with you before I launch my criminal my criminal case countermeasures. He just he's just so proud. I'm gonna launch my criminal case countermeasures. Huh. Good luck with that. Good luck with that, bruh. I'd love to see that happen. I'm just gonna make another video about it. Tell everyone about it. Show their evidence and everything. No slander. No defamation. Just facts and truths, sir. Keep me posted as to any good faith decisions made by Abdul and Kanye. I welcome your thoughts. Peace. And then he puts a dove, a white dove with a white thumb up emoji. White, yellow hand. I've never seen him make it brown or dark. He always used a little white hand. He's a product of Lawrence. He's Lawrence's son, his white mentor guy for mergers and acquisitions that turned him into a shark. You see, that's his son. He is Lawrence's son. And this is the text message that said, okay, let me deal with this matter. Once again, I'm not done. You're not gonna scare me with the police, bro. With the United States, with your slave massa, your jurisdiction. So I don't know what you're saying with that. Now, if I were to read between the lines, knowing you, what is it that you're really saying? Are you saying that you're going to call your handlers to say, okay, I can't do nothing. I can't contain him any further. He is not going to stand down. So you're going to have to take him out. And now I'm going to end up coming up missing because some FBI going to show up to my doorstep? Some hitman on behalf of the FBI? Because low key, I think you fed, bruh. Low key, I think you fed. So if I were to read this and read between the lines, understanding that you are a forked tongue, you talking about getting the U.S. jurisdiction involved. I don't know, man. That could potentially mean your handlers is on your behind. And you got to do something about that. And you can't do nothing about me, sir. I got all the authority. I got the big chair and the big pen, bruh. So the only thing else left is you're going to have to get rid of them. I'm just saying, these are allegations. Not even allegations. These are considerations. I don't know. But I got to make it known for the floor and for the record so that if something end up happening, we know where to point to. Bro, you don't scare me, man. Call the police. Get the U.S. jurisdiction involved, and let's see how that goes. Islam, I'm done with this part one of this presentation. I'll try to make it shorter next time. But there's a lot to talk about. There's a big backstory, a lot of which been swept under the rug. And he just went on with his life, hoping and thinking that we would implode within the next 6 months. But unbeknownst to him, I'm alive like the morning star, baby. I still stand. With the Moorish diplomatic offensive in full effect, full correspondence with foreign governments, 26 letters to date, and counting. I am going to farm the world the way the real estate agents farm neighborhoods. Heavy correspondence. I shall and must control the narrative on who the Sultan is on the international level, amongst the international community and the empire. That is in motion. So trust and believe, Jay. My eyes is on the path, strongly on the path. You're merely an afterthought, but I have to deal with you because you're like a gnat, just flying all around, just buzzing all over my food at the picnic. Your presence, purporting to be some judge and pretending like Kendon is some sultan. I will not tolerate it. Stand down. I end with that. Peace and love, Moors. We'll reconvene for the next session, perhaps next Sunday. Long live the Empire and His Majesty the Sultan Abdul Smith Al-Kabir. Islam and power to the people. Peace.
Long live the Empire and His Majesty the
Islam.
Sultan. Peace and love, Moors.
Peace and
Islam.
love.
To you.
Long live the Empire and Majesty of Sultan.